Hello, everybody, and welcome to Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Divity.
This is a comic book show where we take the books from the past week that came out from your favorite publishers and recap them, review them, tell you what we thought about them, and then give you recommendations for comic books that are coming out this week, which is Tuesday and Wednesday, that we think you should pick up.
Yeah.
So there's also this other element to the show where we talk about comic book movies or comic book industry stuff. Like we talked about Substack, probably to death at this point, not just on this show, but also on this channel. But we also talk about the phenomenons that take place within the industry or surrounding that industry, such as it is with the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer leak, which I want to talk about at some point, and we'll do that during the show. But before we do that, a little bit of house cleaning, and then we're going to get into the comics, and then we'll talk a little bit about the trailer leak and the phenomenon surrounding that, because I anticipate, based on industry sources, that there might be a drop to mitigate the trailer leak maybe during or shortly after our show.
Ooh.
So I don't want to get people excited because that's part of the element of the discussion I want to have about No Way Home. But before we get into it, I want to say to our amazing audience out there, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, thank you for being here. Secondly, This show is sponsored by you. If you want to help us out, you can do so by using the super chats. And number three, if you did sample the leak of the No Way Home trailer, which I think it's been confirmed is absolutely accurate, please try to avoid spoiling the trailer in the comments, because it takes some work to get the trailer leak, and those who want to know have sought it out. Those who don't, you don't know, try to avoid just dropping random spoilers in the chat, especially if the trailer is imminent. And who knows? It could be in an hour, it could be in a month. Mm-hmm. Honestly, we really don't know. Movie isn't supposed to come out until December, so they could release it in November for all we know.
Mm-hmm.
Probably more likely not. Right. Probably more likely before Shang-Chi. But I just wanted to give a little bit of warning up front. Please try to avoid the spoilers in chat. Don't ruin it for everybody else. Also, if you want to support this channel, and you can't do so by using Super Chats or Patreon, by the way, if you want to help us out there, patreon.com/ComicPop, the best, the absolute number one, bar none, no holds barred, die-in-the-wool way to help out this channel and youtube.com/ComicPop is to subscribe to said channels. If you haven't already, if you're just catching the show for the first time or maybe for the third time, and you're like, I kind of dig these people, I promise you, it costs nothing. There's no obligation. There's no expectation, but it does help us out if you subscribe and give videos that we make likes. Just this past week here on ComicPop Returns, our supplemental channel, we released not only a episode of the soon-to-be-changed The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Is it really changing?
Well, you mentioned it in the last episode that we taped, so maybe
I said that just because, we were like...
I think it's a good idea to drop the criteria, so maybe.
Just the rules. I don't know. I like that. I don't know. We'll see.
But that show dropped. We also dropped an episode of Elseworlds Exchange, which featured, I believe, Stegman and his amazing friends came on. We talked about Substack, so that came out. And an episode of our unboxing show. And it's not your typical unboxing show. No Loot Crate sponsorships here, let me tell you. We did that. Pass. We have a show where we take letters and packages from the audience, people who mail us stuff to our PO box address, and we feel like if you're going to send us something, we might as well open it up on camera. So we did it, and we do that on a regular basis. So that episode dropped as well. So 3 different videos on this channel, not including Off the Rack, which is happening right now.
Yes.
So yeah, if you want to if you want to help us out, the best way to do so, subscribe and give the videos likes. We do really appreciate if you do so, and let us know if you have. If you're like, hey, I subbed because of this video. We really appreciate it. And I'll give you a like right back. So, before we jump into the comics, let's take a look at some of these super chats. Brian Rowland says, I forgot that Batcat was still a thing. It's taken too long to get out. Also, X-Core still sucks, but ComicPop and ComicPop Returns rocks.
Thank you so much. Brian. I think I'm off X-Core right now. I'm just going to have to pick up the trade when it comes out, or as it's tying in to anything in the future. I'll probably go back a little bit, but it's not... Like I said, there's like an X book for everybody, and this one just ain't up my alley. And I'm just like, I think I'm just gonna let it go, because I think I'd rather.
Well, you'd rather just focus your attention on something else. Maybe spend your money on something that you really believe in. And it also helps that you're not just reading a book that you don't like for just to talk about X-Core being like, hey, it still sucks, or hey, I still don't respond to it.
Right, and that's really what it is for me. I just don't respond to it.
That's fair. Elizabeth Russell says, hey guys, I've been wanting to get into Green Arrow comics. I was wondering if you could recommend some comics to start with. I think everybody would recommend the Jeff Lemire run. I kind of dug the Kevin Smith run. I think it's like, it was very penetrable, no pun intended, or maybe every pun intended, but I liked that run. Phil Hester's art is fun, and he tries a lot of different stuff, and he gets his sea legs as the book continues. But that first arc where he brings Ollie back to life, I just loved that idea. It's a solid retcon idea.
I guess if you are new to it, that may not have as much of an impact.
No, well, you don't need to, because like Smith doesn't want to waste time with retcons. But like that first arc is kind of like playing with and poking fun of retcons.
Okay.
Bailey Tollison says, I love your content so much. This is the first time I've been able to send some money your way. Keep up the awesome work. Well, thank you, Bailey. And by the way, we do appreciate it. Thank you so much. We got a chance to read your comment. But like, again, if you dig us, just sub, and that's all we need. But we do really, really appreciate you doing that. Thank you so much. So yeah, let's jump into some books. I guess I'll talk about Batcat really quick.
Okay, did that come out this week?
It did.
I haven't been on this book in
no
5 issues now.
That's right. It's only been 6 issues of a 12-issue mini.
And it feels like it's been going on for a while. But I know they went to every 2 months.
Yes, that's right. They did go every 2 months, which, you know, what are you gonna do? But there it is, from Tom King and Clayman, but not for long, because Liam Sharp is apparently taking over penciling duties from Clayman, which is going to really change the tone and feel of this book, which for a lot of people is kind of like, oh, it's still coming out? I still really, really enjoy it, despite my on-record condemnation of the Tom King Batman run. I find this more palatable, for one, because it seems to be more of like a self-contained kind of anthology story. On the other, it's just so good looking.
Right. Okay.
It's just such a pretty looking book. And you know, the I don't know if there's even like really that strong a thematic element to it. It's just kind of an engaging story, and it's a fun window into a possible future / present for Batman that's very, I don't know, palatable. It's normal. It seems like it's just pretty engaging. Plus, he gets to play with the Phantasm and the animated universe, which of course everybody enjoys. So I don't blame them for doing that. But the insistence on Joker and Catwoman's relationship is really like at the fore for this issue. We see Catwoman engage with.
Is it like an advent calendar?
Yes, the whole book has opened as an advent calendar. Each window in Wayne Manor has been an issue, and each issue has had like a lyric from Joy to the World, the song, because the whole thing is a Christmas book.
No, they're all Christmas songs.
Yeah, that's true. But the last like 4 or 5 issues have been just focusing on that one song.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, because each of those are their own songs.
Yes.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. And it wasn't billed as a Christmas book when it came out.
Really, like, you know, I like the holidays.
Yes.
I am that person. I'm just like, ooh, we hit fall, and I'm like, it's time for all the best times.
That's right.
Even though I prefer warmer weather, it turns out.
Yeah.
Unless it's too hot.
Oh, naturally. You can always get warmer.
This has got, you know, it's got Phantasm in it. It's, you know, Batman and Catwoman. I like them.
Yes.
Maybe I didn't like King's run on them originally, but I like him telling stories. And I just could not get into this.
Yeah, that's fair. A lot of people aren't getting into this, and I don't blame them. There's a funny moment because, you know, it takes place in 3 different time periods, or at least 2. I don't know if like you can really count the past, but the point being, Catwoman, when she's older, goes crime fighting with her daughter Helena and puts on her like 1940s Catwoman costume, but she's
with the dress.
In her 70s, so she is just an old woman in this, you know, sexy revealing costume. It's kind of funny. I just kind of dug it. I was like, this is kind of cool.
Right.
Like, I saw the page out of context, and I was just like, I don't know, I think that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
And when I read it, I just enjoyed it. I was just like, this is kind of a fun idea. I don't know. I had no real complaints about it. I don't really let it rub me the wrong way. I don't know. It's funny. Because, you know, a lot of things do.
Right. Well, yes. I do wish it came out more consistently.
Yeah, me too. It would definitely, I think more people would be talking about it. But instead, people are just skipping it.
Well, you forget it.
You absolutely do.
It's easy sometimes to forget series, especially when they're like limited series like this. I feel like Strange Adventures is also like taking forever.
It is. Well, literally, they're drawing it. They were drawing it at Awesome Con this weekend. I'm like, drawing it?
Oh.
But the book is done. Like, you're on the last issue. If they need the time, take the time. I completely understand. but I kind of had the feeling it was done. But I was wrong.
Yeah, that's like messing me up a little bit.
Lewis Cox. So is Hickman moving away from X-Men as he was, his take was very interesting to me. Tiffany, you want to take this one? You want to talk about Hickman's kind of official stance?
The official stance is Inferno will be his last X-Men book for now.
Yes.
I don't know what for now means. However, I heard he's excited for what the new year will bring in terms of like a new
revenue from Substack.
A new direction for X-Men.
Yes.
That is the statement that scares the hell out of
me. Absolutely. Now, here's something that I heard and read recently.
Okay.
It was that apparently Hickman had like a 3-act structure for his run on X-Men. And Dawn of X was obviously like the first act. And he was starting to kind of wane down towards Act 2. And the creators that were working on all these X-Men books were like, I'm not done playing in this period. And it just so happened to coincide with 3 Earths, 3 Moons, the independent project that he's doing through Substack, where he's like, well, if you guys aren't done being in Dawn of X and you want to basically delay what I planned on doing for Act 2 with the X-Men for like a year, I'll leave. You guys do whatever you want until Act 2 comes along, as long as you don't do this. And probably by the time the Substack runs out of money, I'll be back to finish up the X-Men.
That makes me feel better because whenever you hear new direction, it sounds like editorials like throwing everything out.
Yes.
The baby with the bathwater, if you will.
Naturally. I don't think that editorial at all is interceding on this.
And I'm glad because like, but that's just such a terrifying prospect of like taking all this groundwork and throwing it away or like, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying he's the only person who can ever write X-Men nor finish this story.
No, but Duggan's been doing a great job.
Yeah, but if he has a plan, like let it take the plan. Run with the plan.
And as I understand it, like everyone who's been working on the run at any point knows where it's going. So they know not to disrupt it. Obviously, Dan Slott's name was not on the list.
No.
So he'll do whatever he can to disrupt it over on the Fantastic Four.
Go for it.
Oh, he already has.
I know. That's okay.
Hickman also indicated that he wants to work on more Marvel projects that aren't X-Men, which seems kind of weird since he had said that he always wanted to work on X-Men even before Fantastic Four, then did a seminal run on Fantastic Four, changed the game, created Secret Wars, did this whole thing.
It's just it's poor form, as Captain Hook would say. Because why have infighting like that? It's so unnecessary.
I agree.
You know, and now the X-Men are in space, they have their own planet. Where are the Fantastic Four going to go now?
Which wasn't Hickman's idea.
I know, but it is now. But like, regardless of how you feel about his like leaving for right now, for the time being, he's a team player.
Yes. Oh, he's certainly a good leader.
So that's kind of cool.
He'd be very good at editing.
Yeah.
I also read Sinister War number 3 or 4. 4? Yeah, 3. It's 3. Sinister War number 3 from Nick Spencer and Ed Brisson, with art by Bagley, Gomez, and Carlos. This is the 3rd out of 4 chapters for the Sinister War Mega Spider-Man event that no one's reading. It's a big...
Why does he have toes?
Because Brian Hitch drew it.
This is weird.
You know, because it's a sock.
I know it. I know in my head it is.
I don't know why. I don't know why. I appreciate... I appreciate his art, but I also hate it.
I gotta tell you, I'm not a fan of the coloring style on this art.
No, and that's not his fault.
That's not his fault. And I'm not saying the coloring is bad. I just don't think it's a solid match for this art.
That's the thing. Brian Hitchkin is made or broken by coloring.
It feels like it. Yeah, for sure. It's just, I don't think these are... I think
these are not especially
I think
good
they're both
covers.
Talented.
Yes.
But maybe they shouldn't be combined.
I completely agree.
And maybe Hitch colored it himself. I don't know. But then don't color your own work.
No. I will say I enjoyed this issue. It's just a big fight. So, you know, if you want to see Spider-Man like fight a lot of characters and not and barely get a thought out, you know, because most of the time, you know, the whole thing is you're reading about Peter Parker, so you want to see his interpretations or his insight, and he can barely get a thought going because he's being fought by like 20 different people. You know, it's the fight. It's the fight for his life, and you know, the stakes have never been higher. All these villains are fighting.
I suppose that's technically true. There's quite a few individuals here after him.
That's right. Well, and they're all fighting for their immortal soul. Like they want, you know, Kindred to assure them that they're not going to hell when it's all over. which I think is like a weird kind of interpretation, but it's like it's Spencer's, so I can't argue. But it's fine. Justice for Captain Boomerang, like not Captain Boomerang, but the Boomerang, who had been a Spencer darling and was a supporting character for a little while. I think it's a great send off for this character because, like, you know, Spencer really cared about this character, really like made him part of the cast, and then didn't really do anything interesting with it, and literally nobody else wanted to do anything with him. So like he's like, okay, well, nobody wants to do anything with Boomerang. Here you go. You get your redemption, and now you go. And like, I'm leaving, so whoever, you know, the book reads in about 2.5 minutes. It's a fun book.
Is this almost over?
Yeah,
it's set to be concluded.
Yeah.
There's 4 issues.
4 issues, but they're also tied in with the Amazing Spider-Man issues, which of course, like, you need to read because otherwise you don't know like what's going on outside of like just a big slap fight. Okay, but it's fun. It's a fun looking book. It's got a lot of like fun action in it. You get to see a lot of characters you don't normally get to see all at once, and so you know, no major complaints about it. Just like, okay, you know, if you're looking for a substanceless book, you can get you can do worse than Sinister War number 3.
As occasionally I am.
Exactly. Psycho, Jet Black. Will you guys do Miracle Man on back issues? Maybe.
So you really had to think about that.
But I was like, does he mean Mr. Miracle? Because you did it already.
No, he doesn't.
No, Miracle Man. Yeah, one day.
That's the sticker.
Oh, thank you, Justin Got the Mustache, for the like. We do appreciate it, man.
It's a solid thumbs up.
It is a solid thumbs up. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Revival. What are your 3 must-read books currently? Daredevil, Nightwing, and I guess Kang.
I don't know why it's bright red on blue.
No, but it looks good.
See, now I think that they're a little too they're too they're vibrating.
Yeah.
It's vibrating off that screen.
Yeah.
It's very superhero, but
yeah, but also, you know, it's a little garish.
It's a little much.
What did you read that you want to talk about?
I don't know. I read lots of things this week. I read all kinds of things from all over the place for whatever reason. Obviously, X-Men were involved with that.
Naturally.
Let's talk about Marauders real quick.
Okay.
I will tell you guys, I did not read X-Corp this week, so we're not going to talk about that one.
That's fine.
This I gotta tell you, like, I like this issue because it just kind of like sums some things up, and like, you know, we're starting the Marauders on like a new adventure, and like we added tempo to the team because they're like, Cyclops at the beginning of this says like, listen, nothing against like Tempo making like some sweet booze for us, but like I feel like she could be better used on a team.
Right.
And I know she wasn't selected for the X-Men, but like maybe she should actually use her powers elsewhere.
Sure, we have other teams.
Yeah, but like I feel like distilling alcohol quickly is not,
it's not the best use of her powers.
Right. Because she, you know. So essentially post everything that happened after the Hellfire Gala, like Emma's in bed and she's like, okay, so like really I hosted the greatest party ever and I really should be riding high from that. We conquered a planet, but then someone had to go and kill like
the Scarlet
Witch at the end of my party, so it's like I don't even want to get out of bed today. Like it's probably not even worth it.
Okay.
Like all the crap I have to deal with.
Yeah.
And the Cuckoos went after Wilhelmina, part of the Verendi, the kids group. Trying to help her out, like they fixed her brain, but that also unlocked what her dad had done to her. We finished that up here, like we get justice in that arena,
right?
Just as England is shutting down their gates because the gates are going to be off limits,
right?
So they do return, but they finished that up. Meanwhile, in Ireland, there's like after the Marauder ship blew up, essentially, or was attacked afterwards because of essentially because of like the crystals they had on there and various other reasons. That ship was helping to transport the drugs and, you know, part of like their inner workings. So now there's like a shortage on Krakoan drugs going out for just right now.
Oh, rip from the headlines.
But it's causing folk to lose it.
Right.
And there's a warehouse in Ireland where it is being besieged by 2 different mob groups because Sebastian Shaw is supposed to, you know, be giving them their black market version of the drugs and he doesn't have any right now.
Yeah. And
so they came to the warehouse where like the legitimate ones are stored to take them.
Sure.
And it's like an Irish mob and like a Russian mob is there and they start fighting. And as this is all going down, a constable calls Sean Cassidy at the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, there's a really funny sequence at the beginning where he tells Siri to call Sean Cassidy. And Siri's like, okay, you have 17 listings for Sean Cassidy in your phone. He's Irish.
Right.
So he's like,
oh, that's hilarious.
He's like, call Banshee.
Right.
So Banshee goes. Now, I will tell you, I'm not sure how cellular technology works in terms of this universe because he's on Mars, I think.
Right.
Somehow it gets to him.
Sure.
I don't know. Krakoa probably figured it out.
Yeah. There's a mutant that just is their satellite.
Yeah, he goes there. He tries to talk his way out of it, and it all seems like it might be okay until there's like an explosion.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember those individuals from Madripoor, the ones who, like, if you were injured in a fight with a mutant because you're a jerk,
yes,
who went after them and you lost a limb, they like made you robotic and gave you 5 hands.
Of course.
They show up.
Oh, geez.
To take the drugs and to destroy the warehouses.
Naturally.
Well, really just destroy the warehouse because they're trying to, the Verendi are sending them out in order to like
upset
destabilize the
balance.
Krakoan economy and Krakoa itself.
Sure.
So they show up and Cassidy's like, okay. So he calls out to Emma and she's like, oh, hey, Sean, what's up? And I'm like, cool, I guess.
Haven't heard from you in a while.
Yeah.
So we got to get the band back together. I'm going to call Husk and Skin.
And what, Jubilee?
Yeah, of course.
No, he's like, I need some help.
Okay.
I need the Marauders here, stat. So they show up, but it's not necessarily the team that we have grown to know.
Okay.
Obviously, Storm is gone from this now.
Yes.
So who shows up? Kitty is there with Lockheed. Emma's there.
Mm-hmm.
She shows up and she brings Tempo and Jimbo.
Okay.
So he's there.
Oh, okay.
Why not?
Why not?
Mr. Carnation.
Yeah.
So they're like, eventually, like, they all jump into the fray. Someone's like, what are you going to do? Fix my hems?
Right?
He's like, look at the size of me. And he just beats the hell out of somebody.
That's awesome.
They try to hurt him, but he's Teflon skin.
Okay.
So he's fine.
Oh, great.
So we learn a little bit about that.
Terrific.
Tempo uses her abilities to slow down a bomb that is placed.
Yeah.
Which has like 23 seconds on the clock, but it's the type of bomb you can't move. So they basically have to evacuate the area.
Mm-hmm.
They do. As it's counting down to the last, Kitty rushes back in to where Tempo is with the bomb. She's like prepared to die.
Okay.
And she's like, I guess I'll go to the resurrection protocols. I don't want to do this, but that's what has to happen here.
Sure.
And Kitty touches her. And so the explosion just goes through them. But they lose all the drugs in the warehouse.
It's not good.
Not good necessarily. Tempo's offered a slot on the Marauders. She's like, if this is what every day is going to be like, I think I'm going to pass. She's like, Kitty's like, listen, that offer isn't going to be around forever, but if you change your mind, let me know.
Pass. I don't care.
Tempo's like, that's fair. Like, I didn't say I'd never consider it, but
right.
like after today, she's like, probably not. Emma tells the like Irish mob that's there, like, don't worry, like, we all like Tempo here has already helped to like make the plants grow faster, and so we will have new drugs for you soon. And one of the guys, like the main guy in charge of that, was like, my Nana needs her drugs.
Right.
I'm here for Nana. And Emma's like, don't worry, I plucked the name of your Nana from your head and she'll be taken care of. And he's like, okay. Cry.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's just a sweet, fun little story.
Yeah.
Where we're kind of getting back to brass tacks.
Yeah.
It does end with like a romance novel passage.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
Is it a Krakoan romance novel?
No. Well, I don't know. It doesn't say who it's by.
Oh.
So this was just, here's an adventure, which is funny because I'm wondering if this isn't a stopgap because this has to tie into the trial of Magneto, or maybe not. I don't know. Obviously, certain individuals are going to be pulled into that book, but this was just like, hey, like, this is what the Marauders were doing beforehand, before the Hellfire Gala. Now they're dealing with a little bit of the fallout, but getting back to the spirit of the book.
Okay. Well, the book has strayed from what it was originally, but not dipping in quality. So why not?
No, it definitely. Well, it's shifted around, and I'm not upset about that. We dealt with a lot of character to development for Kitty Pryde, Kate Pryde.
Yes.
At the beginning of this run, and now it's just really about this team.
Okay.
By the way, it was written by Jerry Duggan with art by Ivan Ferrelli.
Nice. Okay. Lewis Cox says, hey, ComicPop, could the MCU do a version of Uncanny Avengers? It was good. Well, the first run of the comic was really good. Yeah, I can see them doing that, like a kind of Unity Squad. I think that'd be fun. I think it would come after the fallout of introducing the mutants and having there be the need for a Unity Squad. So I think that's the way to go, is to like not start with an Uncanny Avengers, just kind of start with some X-Men and then see where it goes. Joey Amorum helping us out with the super sticker. Thank you very much, Joey.
Thank you.
And Deb M says, back issues, more like binge issues. I've been binging it for 5 years now. You guys always help me work. By the way, are Colossus or Deadpool not on Krakoa?
So Deadpool is not a mutant.
No, he's a mutate.
So he has not been invited. He has participated.
Invited himself?
He invited himself to the Hellfire Gala, which was off of Krakoa. He has, I believe he's tried to get on. In his own book, the Kelly Thompson run, he tried to get onto Krakoa.
Succeeded in getting on.
Yeah, and he teamed up with them briefly in that Cable book. So he's involved, but like on the fringe. Colossus really hasn't been involved in much.
Which I think is like a damn shame. I think he's in the Savage Land or something.
I guess he attended the Hellfire
Gala. Yes, he had a cool costume.
A killer outfit.
Yes, he did.
Killer outfit.
It's like really weird because when they killed Colossus like 30 years ago, he was off the table for a long time. And even before that, when he was on the Acolytes, it was like you had this big window of time where there was no Colossus. And then they introduced him again during Whedon's run. And it's like, he was fun, but again, woefully underutilized outside of like a few key great moments. It's like, there's something there for Piotr to do something.
I'm sure there will be, and there's plenty of time, hopefully, for that to happen. And I'm glad they're not just throwing everything at us at once. So it's like, we've just been, characters have been like in the background of things, and with Nightcrawler in particular, we got to see Kurt come to the forefront with Way of X.
Yes, and it's a book that, if you're not reading Way of X, that's fine, but it gives you an opportunity like, hey, this is Nightcrawler.
Yeah, if you're into that. So hopefully there will be something like that for Colossus. Someone says in the chat the exact same thing I was thinking, but without any real evidence. I didn't want to bring it up, but they mentioned that they thought the romance novel was written by Pyro. I had the exact same thought.
That's funny.
Which is really weird. And so
it's indicative of the writing, right? Because it like immediately sells you on a character and it doesn't even tell you what character it is, but you feel like you know which character.
I guess, because like really what it is they mentioned like an Australian accent. And like it's really like high on him. Like it is a trashy romance novel excerpt. I'm like, why would Pyro write that?
Right. Well, why would he tattoo a skull on his face? Ethan Ainsworth, been a bit since I caught you live. You guys rock. Well, thanks, Ethan. Appreciate it. And Cosmic Reader, despite Toby and Andy possibly showing up, I'm glad the trailer still shows that this is about Tom. It's Tom's film, and we'll take the focus off of that. Great. I was hesitant to read it because I was like, I don't want to get into spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers.
But I'm glad to hear, or at least indicate, that like the third Spider-Man movie is about the third Spider-Man. So yeah, let's talk about Way of X then. Why not? Way of X number 5, which is written by Simon Spurrier with art by Bob Quinn. So Way of X has been kind of like the Nightcrawler book. It's about Nightcrawler going on a religious awakening.
It is the Nightcrawler book. It's also the Legion book. Yes. Which was like an unexpected twist. And also I like it.
Yeah.
I like that he's there.
You don't see those two interact. You never saw them really interact.
Well, it's just interesting
in the back in the day.
While Way of X is going on, we started the trial of Magneto, which is obviously dealing with parents and their children.
Yeah.
And same thing with like Professor X is going through the same thing right now.
Yes.
Which I was like, that's kind of cool.
Agreed.
This is the last book of Way of X before we transition. Thank you. I was like, what's the transport? I'm like, we're not in Star Trek.
You know what it is, because it's a Nightcrawler book. He's transporting all over the place.
Bamfing all over until we bamf on over to Onslaught the Revelation.
There we go.
So if you want to continue this storyline, that's where you're going to go. Don't be looking for Way of X number 6.
No. Instead, if you have been pre-ordering Way of X, transition over to what is it? Onslaught Revelation?
Yeah.
Number 1.
This book, this issue made me care a little tiny bit. The tiniest bit about Fabian Cortez.
That's a feat.
That is a colossal.
What a shock that Simon Spurrier was behind it.
He made me care about Fabian Cortez ever so slightly.
Yes.
In this issue.
Way to go, Ice-T. He made you care more. But it's true. I mean, Fabian Cortez, useless pile of crap.
He is. I mean, like, he is and he isn't. Like, when you see him, he's useless on his own and
detrimental when he's in a group.
Yeah, but could be used for greater good, as Abigail Brand. Well, she was just using him as a stopgap until she figured out like she could take an
I can get somebody else.
Yeah, an Araco individual to fill in for him, who's just way more on board.
Yeah,
and somehow easier to control than Fabian.
Right.
This issue kind of gives Professor X an opportunity to talk to Legion. We only hear some of it. in which like he's upset and like, you know, he's seemingly disappointed, but also like disappointed in himself. Like Professor X seems to like
Professor X is really weird in this issue, but like
kind of is, but he's also like
he's so written not like he normally is. This is a Professor X we don't normally see, and I assume it's because of the presence of Onslaught.
I think it's I think it's that, and I think it's also the fact that he's literally the only people there are Legion and the Zorn twins,
right?
And it's not like they're gossips.
No, so he can actually be himself. He can let down the veneer of his like.
They're there to protect his body, but also there to kill Legion if
things go wrong.
Yeah, if anything goes even slightly the wrong way,
yes,
they're there to take him down.
Exactly.
So I feel like he's just Professor X has an opportunity to just be like, okay, like I can feel something raw in a way.
Yeah.
Because like I know it feels like there's part of Professor X that is like acknowledges the fact that disliking your own son and not knowing how to deal with it is not his problem.
Right. It's not Legion's problem to deal with.
Yeah.
It's his problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like you need to learn how to deal with this.
Yeah.
And I feel like we kind of get to that point, but also that like I think Professor X says like he's not going to be able to resurrect. He won't resurrect him.
No, Legion peeps into his mind, and he knows that I know he's still going to oppose my resurrection if I don't make it out of this.
Yeah. So
just check that box under my therapy bill.
Yeah. So Cortez and the Lost, I think she's another name, but
but the Lost,
have been fighting one another because Fabian Cortez killed her family,
right?
And Nightcrawler's been trying to be an intermediary for them, struggling to do so. Legion's like, are you still dealing with this? You have to act, Kurt.
Right?
Like you have to stop talking and do something.
Which is a fair point to make because for the last 4 issues he's been hemming and hawing.
He really has been, but. You know, that is Kurt. Like he wants to do the right thing. He wants to do the peaceful, like go with the peaceful way. And so what he does is they're on Mars. And so he takes them, bamps them up high into the atmosphere and then drops them, giving them plenty of time to sort out their differences because Cortez is dampening her ability to use her powers.
Right.
And she could save them.
Yes.
And so they have to talk. And so like, as they start talking and she's telling her story where she's like, you killed my family and I'm really upset. Like they actually are having a connection. Onslaught shows up.
Right.
And like takes over and just feeds their hatred for one another. And they start fighting. And essentially Onslaught's like, no stories.
Right.
Like, no.
Yeah.
You have to just feel. Just feel this. Just do this. And she dies because Cortez kills her.
Right.
And he's like, oh, like I'm like he wakes up and he's like,
that wasn't me.
They're gonna put me in a hole.
Right. Yeah.
Like they're gonna like that's it.
My life, as it is with the fate of Fabian Cortez. Like
my
it's all
life
over.
Is over.
Yeah.
Right. And I seemingly due to her death or like whatever Cortez does, which that's why he powers her up.
Yes.
That's how he kills her.
Yeah.
But when he powers her up, her power is gravity and it pulls the moon Phobos.
Yes.
Into Mars. Which is spectacular. I love the Phobos incident report. Of course I do.
Yeah, because it's written by Abigail Brand.
Well, it's written and then she has notes.
Little notes like, this is not what happened. This part, no. I heard you. We have sensors everywhere.
Because she's not on the Keep, she's on the other one.
Yes.
And so essentially
the other sword ship.
Yes, because she's on the OG one around Earth, seemingly. The birth.
Yeah.
Or no, or whatever. And the Keep is over Mars to help keep their home planet there safe.
Exactly.
From whatever. They were the ones meant to handle it.
Right.
And they're like, we tried everything. And her like Mark is like, no, you didn't. Like you like ran around screaming like idiots.
Right.
Like I think she says shitting your pants or shitting yourselves. And then what they did was they called Magneto.
Right. There's no metal on this planet, you idiots.
Yeah, that's what she's like. You guys you have no idea that there's no metal in the moon.
Right.
So that's not what a moon is.
Yeah.
And so Mars would be destroyed.
Right.
That said, it wasn't, and so she'll be moving her office there.
Yep.
They trigger an evacuation.
Mm-hmm.
Xavier's like, okay, well, there's nothing I can do. Legion's doing something. He's building something, and like he like all of his mind is going towards that, except for like the little bit he's using to talk to Kurt.
Right. over Xavier.
I love it. Yeah, Xavier's talking. He's
not even listening.
No, he's not listening, or maybe he is. I don't know.
He's not, because Xavier's like, you're not listening to me.
Yeah. The Araco individuals are like screaming at it, like, fight us, kind of like Klingons.
Yes.
Oh God, why are you like this? Xavier does cry.
Yeah.
Like when he's leaving his son behind, because he's like, I'm not gonna have them resurrect you.
Right.
Like
that. I don't care about you, Xavier. Like your sorrow does not make me feel bad for you.
No, he needs to grow as a person, or like grow as a father. The fact is, though, he is the father in a way of like mutant kind and Krakoa. So he's got a lot going on.
Yeah. But you also have a son.
Right. But I'm sure in terms of what Moira has planned or what she's worried about, like dealing with Legion is not, she's like, you don't have time to deal with your like father-son issues here, Xavier. Okay. You do that on your own time. They Nightcrawler gets Cortez like back to the planet and is like, all right, I'll get you out of here, I guess. I don't know. And he's like, why? They're just gonna throw me in a hole and then I won't be resurrected, or they'll put me to the end of the resurrection. It won't matter. Yeah. Because I think Nightcrawler says that to him. He threatens him with that too.
Yeah, they're gonna put you at the end of the line, and they're
because like, I'm on the Quiet Council, and I will push for it. And like I tell you right now, you have no friends there. Right. And he doesn't even say that, but we all know that. So Nightcrawler's like, use your powers on me. Right. And I was like, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. He's like, and like all of it. Yeah. He does so. Nightcrawler has a moment where he's like, I get it. And
right. He figures it out.
We see some key moments from the past few issues. And he's like, I need you to be the person who reminds me when I'm resurrected.
Because I won't remember.
I won't remember because there's going to be a gap here.
Yeah.
So you have to tell me, I think it's, what is it? The spark. Like, yes. Remind me of the spark and I will get it. Cortez goes through the gate, and then Nightcrawler uses his powers to bamf up to the moon and bamf it away.
Yes. Yeah, he teleports the moon further away.
Yeah. And then like it's really like horrifying. He's just on the moon and like
he dies. He withers away. It's amazing.
Well, he's a burnt husk from its like impact, and then he's like frozen in space. Yeah. So when he's resurrected, though, like the Lost is there, she's been resurrected, but Cortez supposedly, he used his powers too much and put himself into a comatose state. So he can't remind Kurt the thing that Kurt doesn't even know he needs to be reminded of.
And in the Healing Gardens, they also recommended euthanasia. Yeah. And they said, well, I mean, even if we do, we're going to stick him to the end of the line.
Yeah. So like we won't bring him back immediately. And then you see that Onslaught's presence is everywhere. Yeah. Now, earlier, Kurt figured out with Legion that Onslaught is hiding or feeding on the moments that are lost
between death and resurrection.
Yeah, he's like a Langolier.
It's a decent new status quo for Onslaught.
That like, you know, when was it Pixie died?
Yes.
And she wanted the
cheese toasties or whatever.
And then she didn't.
Yes.
Because she
forgot that moment.
Because that moment wasn't there, and Onslaught has that.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. It's not that like he took it from her. It's just that
he consumes it and it sustains him or makes him stronger.
I guess the idea here, is that like those are the moments that Cerebro doesn't grab, but where like they die with the person, but I guess he takes it.
It's that you know, it's what it is?
Weird.
It's the Langoliers meets the code that Michael Bolton and Samir write in Office Space, where it's like, okay, so they write this code. It's a bank code that like takes these fractions of a percent. Yeah. And then usually they just go away, but this virus will shunt it into an account. This account is called Onslaught, and it makes him stronger.
Yes. But I love that he's feeding on them.
Yes,
like he's like nom, nom, nom,
yeah, nom, nom. Why not? Okay.
So yeah, Onslaught is like a Langolier living on death.
Yeah.
On the memories,
the lost moments.
The lost moments.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, like it's Superman 3.
That's the end of Way of X, transitioning to Onslaught. Onslaught obviously has not been dealt with.
No.
I'm kind of glad Onslaught is a bigger problem than to just have him be dealt with in a 5-issue
like random book that only half the readers are reading.
Yeah. This is kind of acknowledging an issue and then also resetting it.
Yes.
The only person, Kurt will still know, and so will Legion.
Yes.
But Kurt is now missing a big piece of his own puzzle.
That's right.
And also Fabian Cortez is taken off the table, so that's good.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Especially during the trial of Magneto.
Yes, when he would be a great advocate for him. Yeah, it'll be great when if and when they actually do think to use Onslaught, like in a bigger capacity or in a more fun capacity, because they could easily, especially now that Hickman's gone, it's like, well, we'll just do an Onslaught event, and people would go, where the hell did he come from? And it's like, oh, there's this 5-issue miniseries you didn't friggin' read.
Yeah.
So yeah, Carl Maxey, why can't anyone call Ghost Rider? I guess to deal with Kindred. I don't know. I mean. There's a lot of demons out there.
What's he dealing with?
Right?
Nothing.
He's busy.
Nope.
Gravishish popping in to say hi, working from home. Hope you two and the rest of the gang are doing good. Keep up the A+ work. Well, thanks, man.
Thank you very much.
We are. We're trying.
We try.
Sheneo, or Shenio says, I don't catch you guys live enough, but you're all wonders.
Oh, thank you.
Do you think there's any chance we'll get a version of Amazing Spider-Man number 500 at some point in No Way Home? Be cool to finally see Ben, played by Joe Pesci, obviously. Nice My Cousin Vinny reference. Tiffany, you pitched this idea over a year ago.
I did.
Like when we saw the movie, you were like, oh,
I did.
We could see Happy Birthday.
That only always is in the forefront of my mind because it's easy. That's probably one of the first comics that ever made me cry.
Yes.
So like that moment, yeah, that's always in my mind.
Right.
It's like one of the like sweetest moments I've ever written.
Yeah. Right.
So I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Portrayed in a really faithful and endearing way. It has to be genuine.
Absolutely. It'd be a great it could be a terrific post-credit scene, but I'd like it to just be the end of the movie.
I would too. I would very much so. And like I said, I think it would be depending on how the movie goes. Obviously, I'm not one of the people who saw the leaked trailer, so I almost don't want to.
The point is, like, well, the trailer. Here's the thing. You know what's not in the trailer, regardless of what anybody saw? Uncle freaking Ben.
No.
So
right, but like depending on how the movie goes, I do want it to be there, and I want it to be earned though, and I think it would be a fitting way to start the like Peter acknowledging and dealing with Ben.
Yes. Well, not only that, and also springboarding Peter into the next phase of whatever he's in, because like the last 3 Spider-Man movies have been intrinsically connected to the MCU, but also almost at the cost of Spider-Man's history. And I don't mean, and more like at the expense of it. It's not that necessarily I've enjoyed all like both of the last movies and all of his appearances thereof. But part of the reason why everybody likes Spider-Man is because he's so relatable and because of the adventures that he goes on. And it's like, it's fun to see Spider-Man interact with these characters when he's going on those Spider-Man adventures. So far, Spider-Man's been on other heroes' adventures. And this third movie is Doctor Strange. He's going to be like the hero that he hangs out with. And it's like, that's cool, fine. But on the other hand, it'd be cool if there's a transition here where it's like, yes, now we've established Peter is in this universe and he has like direct connections with a bunch of characters. But going forward, we're going to be narrowing it a little bit, getting him more intimate. Although the last one, it's pretty intimate. It's him and like 4 people. They go to Europe. They deal with Mysterio.
Yeah, no, it is. I think. See, I think that you can do Happy Birthday without everything that came before it.
Totally.
And here's why: because this Spider-Man in the MCU came up in a very different heroic world than the Spider-Man of the comics did.
Yes.
It's a different time with different heroes being present. And this Peter, although technically they're both in high school, obviously we've seen iterations of Peter in the comics in high school and in college.
Yes.
But written more like an adult.
Yes.
This is a more faithful, I'm a kid, even though like I am doing crazy things that I shouldn't be doing.
Sure. I mean, closer, maybe Ultimate Spider-Man, but like that's because we spent so much more time with him in high school.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever graduates. It's like he's in high school.
That's really sad.
But that's it. Yeah.
But people deal with death in different ways.
Right.
And so like as a younger person, like I'm sure he dealt with it on the surface for like Aunt May's benefit and for anyone else's around his benefit. But like moving on and filling your day with other things and then getting spider powers and then being whisked away to be in a super heroic world.
Literally, he loses Uncle Ben 6 months before Civil War.
Yeah.
And then like, he's never stopped.
How much easier it is to just latch onto that and not think about your own grief, even if like what you're facing is terrifying and scary. You're doing it for someone else instead of dealing with yourself and healing yourself.
Exactly.
So if they decide to go this route, it would be a sign of his own maturity of being like
I'm ready to talk.
I tried to fill the role with someone else and I lost them. And
Yep.
if I had only just dealt with what I had to deal with,
right,
maybe that impact would have been different and I would have dealt with that differently as well.
Exactly.
And like maybe it's time I deal with what the core of this is.
Because it would be a great moment for everyone for like that 30 seconds or for that 15 seconds when he hands him the thing and you can spend it with whoever you want.
Yeah.
For people to go, oh my God, have they is Robert Downey Jr. going to come back?
Right.
And instead it's Uncle Ben.
Yeah. And he's like,
yeah.
And
he didn't even know he wanted to see Uncle Ben.
He wanted it. And that would be fantastic because like, you know, in that instance, like whether or not it's real or it's in his mind, like that Ben could be like, hey kiddo, I've really been dealing with this.
Yeah.
Like,
right. Exactly. Like, well, you've been busy.
Yeah.
What have you been up to lately?
Yeah. So I think it can be done.
Yeah.
If they come at it the right way. So
I think Feige's capable of it. I just wish they would.
Yeah.
You know, I just wish they'd just do it.
I agree.
It would shut up a lot of people who complain about this universe. Joey Amorum says Onslaught last moments are nom nom. Patrick Lawson, hi Sal, Tiffany, visited my first comic stop in over 20 years with my wife. It was her first time going. Got a lot going back with my sons this weekend. Nice.
Oh, that's so sweet.
That's terrific, man.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love making that a family event.
Seriously. Davey 900, the first question Uncle Ben should ask Peter is if when he shows up, where's my suitcase? Peter lost that in Far From Home and didn't care. Yeah, nobody cared. It was, who cares? It was just a little thing. He also says, I'm still salty about Feige lying about doing some conversation from JSM, blah, 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 blah. Yes. He said the same thing. Yeah. What was it? Feige said, well, you're going to get the conversation from JMS's run on Spider-Man between Spider-Man and Aunt May. And then they just didn't. And like maybe they shot something in a deleted scene. Maybe they didn't. Maybe he lied. I feel like he did because like it's too good a scene.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard Marissa Tomei complain about how like she's not being utilized properly, and I'm like, yep. Like, listen, I can enjoy these movies and still recognize that there's faults. Like, I thought Spider-Man 2 was like the perfect superhero movie, and I'm like, he's still like a creepy man,
right?
Like he's still a terrible person in that movie.
But now that we've gone into a new phase where they're not working towards Endgame. Now is a time that Spider-Man can move more into what people might be looking for from him because he's not a hero facing like incalculable odds,
right?
Or in a world where there's like heroes everywhere. More heroes are gone, even though new heroes have cropped up. He doesn't know them that well.
Yes, exactly.
So, and the one he does know is a grumpy old man, kind of.
Yeah. Harbulary Harry, I'm sure Sal loves the One More Day stuff. Yeah. In this case, I would love that. Are you kidding me? If it were used, I'd be like, go for it, do it. Because you're not one more daying my 25 years of history. You're one more daying this thing that ruined the experience for me watching that movie.
Right.
Like I loved that movie, and then they do the identity reveal, and I'm like, you've ruined it.
Maybe that's the reason why. I mean, I doubt it, but maybe that's why. Sorry, I'm like somewhere else now. I was like, I heard everything you said, then my brain was like, you've got something totally different to say. So here it comes. You got two potential Spider-Man. You got Toby and Andrew coming in, right? Their movies dealt with Uncle Ben.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And you're gonna have this kid who's like, I'm not dealing with this.
Yeah, I'm not dealing with Uncle Ben. It's like that's the first thing I did. That's why we're Spider-Man.
What? No, it hurts. I don't want to deal with this.
No, but didn't he tell you with great power comes great responsibility? I mean, Andrews didn't really say that. He said something like that.
But, I don't know. We'll see, everybody.
Yeah.
Let's just all go in there hopeful.
Yeah. We both read Moon Knight number 2.
We did.
This is the new status quo.
You weren't going to.
Yeah, no, but I did. Moon Knight number 2 from McKay and Cappuccino. This is the new status quo for Moon Knight. It's like obviously getting the trade ready for the show.
Yeah.
And it's like utilizing multiple, versions of Moon Knight. People's fan favorite versions of him. And Moon Knight's dealing with this one you liked more than the last one.
I think I did. I mean, I enjoyed the last one. And I know it introduced like a new disciple of Khonshu. But I felt weirdly like this one was a stronger showing of Moon Knight. It had like some really great splash images, which is just like, it's Moon Knight, people.
Yes. Yeah. I think the first one had better, or at least more of them.
I guess I really like, there was a couple in here that I like.
That are good.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
I liked it. I liked it as well, but I feel like the art direction. It was more like the blocking of scenes. I felt like, it
in this.
Yeah, that it felt like there was a lot of like wasted space in these long panels where like characters were just like in an empty hallway talking to each other. I'm like, eh.
Oh really? Oh,
yeah, it reminded me like of early Ghostbusters when like Dan was still getting his sea legs drawing a comic book, and it's like just these big long panels of like nothing with two characters talking in it. And I'm like, he'll get there. And he did. But like,
okay.
This felt like there were a couple of moments where it's like there are some really spectacular moments. Obviously, the huge splash of Moon Knight defeating the villain in the mindscape, or in his own mindscape, was friggin' amazing.
It's gorgeous.
And it's a great like fun. This was stronger for the points that you brought up, where it was like, this is a villain of the week kind of situation that also manages to tell the larger story. And that's always going to be more successful than just being like a pilot.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
That's why the train job is a better episode than like the pilot for Firefly. But it's fine. I am not the world's biggest Moon Knight fan. I'm not like I don't like Moon Knight. It's just more like he ain't my favorite superhero. He's never been. When I first read Moon Knight regularly, it was as a joke. I met Charlie Houston at New York Comic Con, and I'm like, Moon Knight's lame. And if you make him cool, I'll buy it up to issue 12. And I did. And like the first issue of the Houston Finch run, I was like, oh my God, okay, never mind. And I read the whole damn run and I loved it. But that's really it, And then the other run, the Ellis run, I read those 6 issues and I'm like, these are amazing. But like they weren't like going anywhere, and they were just kind of cool. But outside of that, I don't really care about Mark. He's not a character that resonates with me. So, outside of him being cool, that's kind of all he's got for me.
What I think I like about this right now, again, I think I mentioned this the last time too, is that it's even though it's like supernaturally charged, it's feeling very street level.
Yeah.
He's taking care of his area. That's
true.
And I really dig that. I think a lot of teams and characters are doing things
it's a little too big.
A little bigger scale. Obviously Moon Knight was involved with the Avengers, and that was on a large, ridiculous scale. So to bring him here now and to like be like, I got to take care of my city, my area.
Yeah.
Take care of these people. They're like, I'm in charge of them.
Exactly.
And then have someone else like this antithesis come along and be like, that's not what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
He's like, but I am. I'm like, that's kind of cool. It's kind of acknowledging what his recent past, and also just telling some fun stories about Moon Knight. So
agreed.
I kind of dug this.
Yeah,
I might pick up the next one.
Yeah, I might pick up the next one. We'll see. I also read Superman and the Authority. I guess I got logged out of Comixology, but whatever. Superman and the Authority from Grant Morrison and Mikkel Yennin. Superman is forming a team with Manchester Black. This team introduces John Henry Irons' niece Steel and Midnighter and Apollo and June Moon.
Okay.
But it's really more focused about Midnighter and Apollo and Steel. And it's fun. I just enjoyed it. It's very Grant Morrison today. Like I used to liken
things. This was the book last time. You're like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah, and I don't really care what this is. Like I'm not.
You're just enjoying.
It's just fine. Again, it's a mini series, so it's not like
right.
And I don't know what the hell's going on with Superman. Like Morrison's just doing whatever he wants.
Okay.
He doesn't care,
right.
And like neither should you. I certainly don't. But the art's great. The story's fun. I guess I don't know. It's like in a future, Superman's like less strong or something, which like sounds very similar to some other Grant Morrison books I've read. With Superman.
Well, I mean, when you have a character like that, sometimes you do need to set some sort of rules or boundaries because otherwise, why do you need anybody else?
Totally, exactly. But seeing Midnighter and Apollo, first of all, be introduced in this issue was cool. Their interaction with Superman's fun. Steel and her whole thing was fun. I really liked that character, and I liked how they used her. That was where Morrison goes nuts with internet culture. Basically, that like this AI becomes self-aware and learns everything from the internet. So it creates like internet trolls, and it creates like toxic masculinity monsters and other stuff like that. Everything that Morrison wants to say about the bad parts of the internet, this AI, this Wi-Fi consciousness engineers sentient life or monsters that like attack her. And, she handles it with like dignity and poise that it's like, yeah, of course. It's like, that's how you handle those kind of discourses. And she blocks them with her hammer. With the ban hammer of justice. Her. It was fine. I was like, this is kind of cute. And it was but it was like, you know what? If it were anybody else, it'd feel like really hacky. It still feels hacky, but it's done by Grant Morrison, so everyone's going to forgive it and not complain. And I also really don't like mind the idea. You know, I'm like, go for it. You know what? Like, if you want to, anytime anybody wants to talk about something contemporarily, you know, where they're like, I'm going to show you, you know, it feels like a kid in a skateboard with baggy pants being like, yeah, let's talk about bullying. Like, I don't know. It feels a little pandering, but I was like, this is fine. Like, it is so on brand. And it works into such a, it's this, if I have no business complaining about this if I also appreciated, or at the very least forgave, energy vampires in Final Crisis that like are analogs for editors. You know what I mean? Like, if they want to talk about what bothers them about culture,
right,
this is the place to do it, because this is art. So go for it. It's cute. It's and it worked.
Every time you said Wi-Fi there, all I could think of was ProZD.
Yeah. Betty Boop was my Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi I'd like to marry. It's silly fun. I have no complaints about it. Al Babbles helping us out. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Denial, read the latest Sinister War. I'm officially done with Spencer Spider-Man. Like a lot of his run, it just feels like it's stalling for time. Totally. No, the whole Sinister War entirely is wheels spinning. It could be one issue. Kevin Kruger, after seeing Starro, I want to see Etrigan and Annihilus in movies. Yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
Who's taking over for Spider-Man?
Zeb Wells, I think.
Oh.
And a team. It's going to be like Brand New Day, where it's like a whole group of people. But I think Zeb Wells is the engineer.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Because you read that.
Because I read that free
comic
book
book like
issue.
it, and I was like, yeah, but I like Hellions. So
exactly. So I think he needs just
give it a shot.
Give him another issue or two, and I'm sure it'll be fantastic.
Or a complete issue.
That's true. Yeah, it was just it wasn't even a full issue. Can we speak about Secret Wars movie into existence? And a new Moon Knight art is fabulous. It is. Yeah, I think they are going to make Secret Wars. I think they've all talked about how they want to make Secret Wars into a movie.
I think that'd be fine. I mean, you've already established a couple of characters who could easily do that, with Black Widow's sister.
Yeah,
being a part of like the MCU now. You've got like street level there. Obviously, you've got Falcon. Winter. You know what I mean? Like, you could make a new group of people who have to deal with this, especially now that you know.
Well, and they can pluck people from time or space and be like, here you go. You know, Captain America's back for this one fight, you know. Like I said earlier, I read Kang the Conqueror, number 1 of 5.
Because you were like, it was fun. And I was like, I defy you to make a fun Kang book.
Right. It's written by Colin Kelly with art by Jackson Lansing.
I don't know why I don't like Kang.
But Kang is just such an idiot.
I think it's because he's just a pompous windbag.
He's such a tool. Kang's a huge tool. And
he's dealing with time travel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, I don't mind time travel, but like, anyway.
Right.
So I read this too.
Yeah. The story is Kang goes into his past, our future, picks up Nathaniel Richards and takes him on like a quest to engineer a better Kang who won't fail, and just shows him all his failures. And he's like, this is how you would beat them. He's just cheating. And we find that like the new Nathaniel Richards, defies that Kang. It's just, I love this issue.
I'm not. Did you also just assume that was how it was supposed to play out?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I hate that.
I hate that too.
I think that they think they're clever. That like, you're supposed to think that things are going differently.
No, I'm like, this is supposed to be how it always goes.
Yeah. Also, we haven't really dealt with the Iron Lad situation. I hope they do. Because Iron Lad is also Kang. But I liked it. I thought it was like really well written. I liked the journey. Nathaniel Richards is an interesting character in this version. Kang is also rather interesting. I like the idea that, with he's Ravonna. Sad. Yeah, that he's always sad. Like, that he's just, I'm Kang. And then like
he's Rick?
Yeah, he's Rick. Right. That's exactly what this is. Oh my God. It's Rick and Morty. Kang the Conqueror is Rick and Morty.
No.
Yes, it is.
No.
Yep, that's exactly what this is. Nathaniel Richards is freaking Morty. He just stole Rick's portal gun. Okay, never mind.
No, enjoy it.
I mean, I like it, but it's like clearly that.
No, listen, you can have anyone can be sad and be held up on that.
Yeah, anyone can have a drinking problem and have access to like multiple versions of themselves and go through time and space. and have a younger like sidekick for no good reason that he barely tolerates and abuses and constantly.
Well, no, I think I don't think it's a sidekick. I think it's a replacement.
Right.
Or he's like,
maybe he's always everywhere. Well, I liked it. It's.
I'm not saying you shouldn't.
By the way, Lansing's art is great.
It's only 1 of 5.
I know.
5 issues.
Well, that's
where this is going.
That's how you can do a Rick and Morty ripoff.
Surprise you.
It could, and I hope it does.
And maybe it's not that at all.
No, that's true. It totally is, though.
It may not.
The art's great.
It is pretty good.
And I like the did the dinosaurs look awesome?
The dinosaurs do look awesome.
The people looked cool, all the weaponry and the people.
You got to
see dinosaurs. It's really fun. But I liked it. Carl Maxey says, Sal, what do you think about a comic where Spider-Man 2099 battles Kang the Conqueror? Love it. I've never seen that. I don't think I've seen that. So yeah, I'd like to see Kang just stuck in 2099.
I like that quote.
Anybody can be sad. Tiffany 2021. Nightwing number 83.
Yeah.
From Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo. This is you may have seen this book like circulating the internet because like people like to post pages out of context, which is toxic for the industry. So yeah, this is a great book. Of course, obviously, we've been singing its praises since it began. But you read this as well. So what'd you think?
I read most of it,
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed this.
Yeah,
visual.
It's great.
So much so that I was like, "Did you read it yet?"
Yeah,
I think you're gonna like it.
Yeah, and then I immediately sat down and read it, and it's great.
Listen, the action sequences are great. Obviously, anything letting Redondo draw like explosions and fighting are spectacular.
Yep.
But for me, the strength of this book was actually
the interactions.
The second half of the book.
Mm-hmm.
The interactions between everybody, the speech itself. It's just, this is a really well-balanced book.
Yes, it is.
And it has heart.
Yes.
No pun intended.
No, God.
I'm sorry.
It's true, though. This book has heart, Tiffany ComicPop. That's going on the trade paperback. DC, you can use that.
Yeah, this I thought was so well handled.
Yes, it could have been really preachy or really fan servicey.
Yeah,
and it's not. I mean, it's Tom Taylor. He's a natural, but yeah, it all just works. From Nightwing's text conversation with the Bat family,
yes,
to his actual conversation, to his interaction with Barbara,
to him like checking the boxes. Checking the box. He goes to Tompkins clinic.
Yes,
he goes to the Titans.
Yep.
He goes to Lucius. And he goes to Superman, and that I was like, damn.
Yep.
Not only did I really just enjoy this interaction, I really like Redondo's take on Superman.
Yes.
It's his own look entirely, but also very iconic,
strong, and gentle at the same time.
Yeah, and like they just have a really nice conversation. I truly love that Nightwing makes him laugh.
Yes.
And like it's at the like expense of his friend and how like hopelessly stuck in his ways Batman can be.
Yes.
And I really liked that moment, and that he like Superman's like, why are you coming to me, kid? You should be coming to
Batman.
You should go into Batman.
And he's like,
well,
he'll try to talk me out of it.
Like, well, he might prefer a text.
Yes.
And he's like, I want to talk to someone.
Right.
But then Superman says that he's going away.
Yeah.
And
he indicates the Tom Taylor Superman Son of Kal-El book.
Yes, and that like Nightwing should like befriend John.
Yes.
Which is interesting because it's like he's like, maybe we could do Super Sons like this.
Yeah.
Maybe Nightwing and
John
and older John can be buds.
I would like that a lot. I think that Nightwing and John would not get along, and I'd love to see that.
I agree. I agree. I also like that Superman says something really nice about Alfred. And
yes.
He looked up to Alfred.
Yeah.
Because like he's like, Alfred helped to raise some of the greatest heroes. And I was like, it's
true.
So sweet.
Yep.
Like so nice.
Accurate.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that, he sees that in Dick.
Yeah.
And then we have like a press conference. He looks outside. He's like,
oh, there's a lot of people.
I don't want to do this. He's like, can I be Nightwing now? And
yeah.
Barbara's like, no. He says he values their friendship, and then they kiss. Yep. I'm like, yay!
Of course, they got married in death metal, so
whatever. Yay! Shit. So then Nightwing makes the nicest speech I've read in a while in a comic, talking about what he wants to do with his money and how he wants to give back to the community, and he has all these ideas and these ways, and he knows he can't do it alone. And so he's like brought all these people in to help him. And, and that like he is like going to name the foundation, which he'd been hinted at, like,
and we knew.
I wasn't 100% which way it was going, but that he ends up naming it the Alfred Pennyworth Foundation. And I was like, that's so sweet. That's when all the texts come in. I love this group chat. I love how well they like in a single text panel we get everyone's personality. I love Damien. Like, it's not a competition, but
you win.
But you did win.
Yeah.
Damn it. And then the phone rings.
Yes.
And it's Batman. And I really like that a lot. And he's like, Batman's just holding a photo of Alfred and him when they were younger. And I'm like, you have that nearby.
Right.
You're sad
I keep all the time. Yeah, I'm sad all the time.
See, anyone could be sad.
Classic Tiffany. And then the Heartless indicates that he's connected with Dick in some way. So yay!
Sitting with his jar of hearts.
Oh, he's a big Christina Perry fan. Trenton Brown says, Kang, check it out, Morty. I'm conquering Rick. Yeah, I can't wait. I would probably be like, wow, if they did that in a Rick and Morty episode. Yes.
But it's like a rip-off Kang.
I can't wait. Because they've never done... No, they don't like to do time travel.
No.
Yeah. Elizabeth Russell, I was wondering if you guys had seen MODOK on Disney Plus. I have seen the first episode, and it seems pretty good. I did not. I didn't watch MODOK. It's just not for me. I'm just going to pass.
No, we're not going to watch it at all?
We could look at the first episode, but I really don't want to watch that show.
We could look at it. Look at it. There it is.
Yeah, it exists.
It's
and
just
it's there.
hanging out there.
I guess we should talk about Trial of Magneto before we wrap up.
No, we have to talk about one more thing. It's about Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow #3.
Yes.
Written by Tom King with art by Bilquis Evely.
Yep.
It's still great.
Right.
I still like
reading the words.
I like reading these words.
Yes.
And I still like reading these words. That's just it. You could kind of tell where the story was going, although it didn't quite end up like we didn't get to the end the way I thought we were going to get to the end of this story.
Sure.
But I still loved going on the journey.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about,
there's still 5 more issues left to go.
No, but I'm just saying, like, this is a sub of their journey. But this is a full journey for this planet.
Right.
And I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I really kind of like the way in which this book is written, that it's not only is it Ruth's journey, but it's Ruth's interpretation of Supergirl. It's Supergirl trying to do the right thing, she's a product of not only like living longer on Krypton than Kal, but also a product of Kal himself.
Right.
And she had gone out to this part of the galaxy or the universe, even beyond it, to get drunk and celebrate her 21st birthday.
Exactly.
But she can't help herself. And even though she's already on a quest to right the wrongs and the death of Crypto, which I'm still like, but no, right? Shit. She can't help herself but to try to right further wrongs.
Exactly.
And I love that compulsion in her character and the way in which she's written, because at times she's written as she uses like the way I use like all the time. Yeah. And I dig that because you've got this essentially seemingly normal individual with this power and this desire for justice.
Right.
And so it's just disarming to other individuals. And I'm baffled at how Tom King can take a story that, listen, does the guy like to write about tragedy and, stress and dealing with those stresses? Sure. But he does it in different ways each time. And this is yet another different way, homaging a bit of the Western, but also just homaging the, oral tradition of telling stories, because Ruth is clearly telling the story, obviously, to her family in the
later
future.
In her life. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, recounting her time with Supergirl.
Yeah.
It's just dope. I really like it.
That's cool.
What else?
I haven't read it yet.
Oh.
I literally just didn't have time. I was like, I'll read this later.
Well, I look forward to you reading it.
Me too. Well, I look forward to reading it.
I look forward to you reading it.
Yeah, me too.
But listen, if you don't like the way Ruth speaks, that's not going to change. That's the constant throughout this series is that style of dialogue, and I really enjoy it. Like, I find it to be charming. Right. You may not, and that's okay. I get it. But I just like it.
That's fair. This trial of Magneto has happened.
Here it is.
Here it is.
Folks.
Woot. It's written by Leah Williams with art by Lucas Wennick.
Should be the trial of Magneto. Doink doink.
Yes.
Da 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 da.
Yeah, X-Men Law and Order. Okay. So
how you feeling about this one?
It's fine. It's like one of the finest X-Men books I've read in a long time.
There are parts of this I really enjoyed, and there are other parts of it that I thought the dialogue was clunky.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little clunkiness, especially early on.
Yeah.
There's lots of balance in this book.
Yes, I agree with that.
And it's also, I do appreciate, though, the haste in which everything is being dealt with. Because
totally.
They're all just trying to get ahead of it.
Right.
Like, this is a shit show waiting to happen.
And I'm amazed by how Williams circumvents like the obvious. You know, like they have to break the news to the Avengers. They call the Avengers.
Well, no, they had to vote first.
Right.
They had
to X-Men it up. They had to keep it internal first and then
they're
decide.
like, if we bring her back, we don't have to tell anybody what happened.
Well, we dealt with that too. The issue of like, because I know, I think Magneto's the one who's like, well, we could just bring her back. Which is clearly like what we want to do in the first place.
There's a quiet council meeting in which they're voting on whether or not they are going to utilize the resurrection protocols on a non-mutant
because
they have backups of her and Quicksilver from their past.
Right. Cerebro's been chronicling them since it thought they were mutants.
Right, which means that it's like, what version of her would be resurrected?
The least complicated one.
Yeah.
That's what's so juicy and amazing about this. It's like, and because it's Marvel, I wholly expect them not to do it because they could have made Hank Pym a Skrull since the Yellow Jacket incident and during Secret Invasion. And I remember them just not doing that. And I'm like, why did just not? Just not. Because like, both people will be pissed that all of the years of Hank Pym being a wife beater will have been for naught. And everyone else will be able to uncomplicatedly use Hank Pym again.
Right.
But instead, he's a half robot man, except he's not anymore. They split them. But like, who gives a shit, right? Who even noticed?
Yeah.
But with Scarlet Witch, like, you can't use her without her being like either frustratingly uncomplicated, which is like, I'm just Scarlet Witch again, woo! And it's like, what are you talking about? You're like, you had like a silent genocide. And then there's the other version where she's like, I'm sad all the time, Plants vs. Zombies. And it's like, those are your options. And then you bring her back where she doesn't remember it. You also uncomplicate the retcon by being like, as it turns out, she actually is a mutant.
Well, there is the other version of her that like the magic side of the Marvel universe has been using, who's just like, hey, she can teach classes and she's totally fine.
Yeah. In Strange Academy.
Because they just kind of ignore sometimes that the other.
They have to.
Here's what I like about this, just overall, this concept. It's like you literally have Nimrod come online. You have Onslaught, who's in people's brains. You've got Sinister making Chimera. This is actually something that could fracture Krakoa. Because as we see post her death, everyone's celebrating that the Pretender is dead.
Right. Well, because that's what they spent their whole friggin' like germination of this society celebrating.
It's like you've got that. They could just bring her back, and then they don't have to deal with the fallout of going like, "Hi, Avengers. I'm sorry, she came here and she got murdered."
Right.
That's not a good look for anybody.
It is not.
So they take a vote, and only 3 people vote to bring her back.
So that's that. She's not coming back.
Kitty and Nightcrawler
vote to bring
her back.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
So why is Magneto wearing his Cullen Bunn suit for the first time ever?
That's a really great question. Magneto acts completely out of character in this.
Yeah, very suspiciously out of character. So out of character, he's wearing a different character.
So out of character that for like a moment
you were like, is Mystique here?
Yeah, and then she is. They definitely make sure to show us her.
Well, sure, because I'm sure there's another shapeshifter on this island.
There is. They added one recently,
and
it was from Children of the Atom.
There you have it.
And Mystique runs into her during the Hellfire Gala for a moment, and I'm sure there's other ones, but I know for sure she is.
Yeah, but they also really want you to see that Mystique is here, and that Mystique is also loving this because, of course, she's the mastermind of Inferno.
Yeah, well, she's loving this because she Magneto's been the one who's like, Destiny can't come back along with Charles,
right?
But he's part of that.
Yeah.
And so like, oh, you're gonna make a big deal about this,
right?
She's not even a mutant.
Yeah,
mine is.
Right. So, so they're dealing with that. They go and call the event. They call the Avengers. They say that they tell Magneto like uses his powers to like hurt Xavier.
Yeah, and like everyone's kind of cool with it after he stops.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, though, if he does use his powers for that, it kind of negates that it could be a shapeshift.
Or it's a combination of things. Because they reveal that Wanda was like killed by metal, like that someone was manipulating metal and like bound her hands and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, everyone's celebrating. Magneto is like he's like, well, anyway, okay, well, if they didn't vote my way, fuck you, I'm just gonna leave. I'm gonna act totally not like the Magneto that's been portrayed in this entire run, like just completely not. And they're like, well, hold on, you're under like arrest, kinda. Like we need to talk to you.
Yeah,
and he's like, nah.
It could also be just that he's like, oh no, I didn't. If he didn't do it, he's like, I didn't do this, but there's no way they don't think I did this.
Yeah, because I want her resurrected. I called her here.
Yeah, and so it could be that his own experience, obviously, with his past in terms of concentration camp, genocide, just in general, is coming back. He's like, they're hunting me,
right?
And so he could just revert back to
and it could be that maybe he was anticipating it, which is why he put on his I'm a Hunter Cullen Bunn mini-series or Magneto series.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the X-Men take waste no time fighting him.
It's not just the X-Men, because X-Force is there. X-Factor was investigating this. All the teams were coalescing to some degree.
Yeah.
Some of the teams.
Right. Polaris is upset reasonably. They all fight Magneto, and there's a great moment where like Magneto is just holding his own, and then friggin' Quicksilver shows up.
I love it. Like he's holding his own, and then Scott's gonna blast him. Yep. He's like, "Where'd he go?"
Yeah, what? He's gone. Quicksilver. Hey, good use of Quicksilver. Yeah. But yeah, ultimately they knock him out, and then they try to probe his mind, and it's a nightmare. So we'll deal with that later.
Maybe she did it. Maybe she made him do it.
Jean?
No.
Oh.
Wanda.
Yeah. Well, Wanda. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. So, there's a nice little moment where like the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants or whatever are all together. Everybody who like used to work together, including Wanda.
Yep.
Or just drinking at the bar, and then we see like this weird thing that kind of ruins everything for me. Because I was like, oh, I'm kind of excited about this idea, the implications, the resurrection protocol. Like I'm hyped. I'm like, you can fix it. You can fix this. And I feel like there's like a mandate at Marvel that's like, don't fix it. Like whatever it is, like don't. People keep accusing us of not putting things back where they were, or of always doing that. So let's not deliberately, even when it actually makes things better. So Wanda's not dead.
I don't know.
That she's narrating the book, and I don't know, she has this vision of a white robed person plunging a dagger into her heart. Flowers blast out of her, and then it wraps up with her saying Scarlet Witch isn't dead. Beautiful image. By the way.
It is
spectacular.
It is.
And then we do what I feel like this is the crappiest version of like a hit. Like it feels really like a really terrible, like a pretending to do that. It feels like fan fiction in terms of trying to do the Hickman maybe design thing.
Perhaps what it is a puzzle.
Right.
Like we're not seeing the full image.
I mean, I hope not.
That that's what it is, and that like this is a part of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of this graphic
either. I thought it was awful.
But listen. Wait until the end to determine whether or not this ends up being a good graphic or not.
Right.
But
it's like it did not hit, I think, the way they thought it was going to.
Right.
because I think they thought it was like going to be like intriguing, homage to like or inconsistent. But it's not.
I do like that the arrows become like trees? Like Krakoa.
Right, but like what? Yeah, but that's not what these do.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I don't know. Listen, so, she can manipulate reality. So
yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
She like
yeah. So I don't know. Trial of Magneto, it's a miniseries. It's a little event. I don't even think they were planning on it. It's wholly disconnected from what Hickman was planning. Right. So like
maybe she is elsewhere and like what she did there was to give the mutants what they wanted.
Right. I don't know.
She's just giving people that she's wronged a reality.
Yeah.
Like a version of her that does the thing they need.
Right.
Or they wanted.
That's fair. Otherwise, I think it's fine. Like I enjoyed it when I read it. That graphic, I was like, oh. But otherwise, I'm like
Magneto being so out of character,
so weird. Like, and I know that like I know it's on purpose. I know they're doing it on purpose, but like,
I hope they're doing it.
But like I shouldn't have to read a tweet to know that. Like the work should speak for itself, and it doesn't. Because I had to read that. I read where they were like, "Oh, yes, he is acting out of character. Don't you think that's interesting?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do." But like, I'm not stupid. Like, I don't need this spoon fed to me. But if I do, that's kind of on you.
Well, again, like I when that happened, and maybe it's just because I've been reading so many X titles, I was like, most of the things that have been done
so deliberately.
Deliberately. So like I was like, oh, he is acting weirdly. But the more it happened and the more consistently it happened, the more I was like, this must be intentional.
Absolutely.
It wasn't like one page or one panel or one action.
No, it was the whole damn thing.
Everything was weird.
Yes.
So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
It's probably that. The earlier dialogue, like some of the like investigation part, again, it's a little clunky for me, but
it was a little
the dialogue
clunky.
Improved throughout the issue.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't know what was up with those first few pages, but I was like, is it okay?
Yeah.
The art's okay. It's pretty good.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought the art was great.
It feels weird that we're doing something that's seemingly pretty big. I mean, I think Inferno is the bigger event going on, but the Trial of Magneto has weight, and like Laraz or someone like that isn't attached to it. That feels weird.
Well, it's because this was supposed to be like an X Factor or something. It was supposed to be like a mini series. It was supposed to be a sub story in another X-Men book, and then they were like, "Oh, make it a big thing. This is a big thing."
Right.
And it's like, yeah, okay, but like, as long as it's consistent.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we'll see. I think issue 2 is really going to be the good indication as to whether this is great
it's not like I'm not going to keep reading this.
No, yeah, totally.
I naturally am.
Yeah. Eddie Eckenberg says, I read Avengers Tech On after you talked about it last show. I feel like it's worth the price of admission just for the panel of Spider-Man and MJ carrying an unconscious Wolverine into the Quinjet.
Yeah, they do that.
That's fun.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know how they did that.
Yeah.
He's so heavy.
Right. He must be. So anything else that you read?
No.
Well, let's talk about the let's give recommendations and we'll talk about the trailer.
Okay.
So yeah, obviously I'm going to recommend Tech 1042. I think I might be off this book, but I'm going to read this one to be sure. Amazing Spider-Man 72 is coming out. If you are reading Sinister War, you need this because you need like dialogue in this series. I also am recommending Robin number 5 from Joshua Williamson. I'm enjoying this series, and I think you're going to be getting some more Robins finally in this book, which is kind of fun. The most anticipated book of the week for me will be Spider-Man Life Story Annual number 1 from Chip Zdarsky and Mark Bagley and Andrew Hennessy. Mark Bagley's doing a variant. I'm sorry. So Andrew Hennessy's doing the art.
No, he's the penciler. That's
okay, great. Good. So it's going to be, and by the way, when they make like the oversized edition or whatever of Life Story, this will be added into it. But it's basically just like another issue for Life Story. So like, duh. Yeah, I'm picking this up. Are you kidding me? I'm going to also give Superman Son of Kal-El number 2 a shot. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Tom Taylor. He's worth another shot.
Okay.
King Spawn number 1 is one of the most pre-ordered books of the year, so I'm going to be checking that out as well. Sean Lewis writing Spawn. Okay, I'll check that out, I guess. Also, Spawn.
It's Spawn.
It's Spawn. Batman 89 number 1 was a little like, we'll see. But Superman 78 number 1, we'll see how that goes. Venditti's writing it, or Venditti. So at least it will be like really consistent. It'll be Superman.
Right. So that's pretty super.
It's pretty super indeed.
It's pretty wizard, I'd say.
I would not.
Why
so
not?
what are you recommending?
I'm trying desperately to pull these because I yet again did not do it beforehand.
Naturally.
I'm pretty great, everybody.
Yes. Oh, I want to also recommend Barbaric #3.
Okay.
Barbaric numbers 1 and 2. The art was phenomenal. Story is fun. It's like Rat Queens, but like, Conan.
They're making a Winter Guard book.
Wow. You late.
Written by Ryan Cady.
Okay.
Let's just start throwing some stuff out there. Wolverine #15. I'm gonna recommend that. Ben Percy and Adam Kubert.
Yay!
It's just worth it to see it.
Yep.
This is continuing that solemn story. So, and the Iraqi pirate crime lord Sever.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna check that out. I am.
Yes.
Something is killing the children. #19 is coming out.
Wow.
Die #19. Part 4 of the final encounter approaches.
Oh no!
So you can check that out. Strange Academy #12. I like that book. It's just fun.
I know.
It's dealing with
consistently.
It's dealing with misery. So I'm like, yay! I remember that.
Yeah.
Once in Future #19. Batman Reptilian #3.
Yeah. We didn't talk about 2, but
yeah, I just want to make sure everybody knows what's coming out. Amazing Fantasy #2.
Yay!
I can't wait to read more of this. It's Kari Andrews across the board.
Totally.
Fun little sort of like
anthology kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's fun. The art, the covers are spectacular.
Covers are spectacular. They look like old, fantasy novel kind of things.
Yeah.
I might check this out.
So I saw an ad for this this morning, and I've been seeing this ad a lot, and it says only in August, and I was like, well, you got one more effing week.
Well, here it comes.
And here it is.
Superman versus Lobo #1 is coming out. It is 48 pages. It is $7. So maybe it's up to you. Tim Seeley and Sarah Beatty.
Yep.
On this one. So that's up to you. I don't know if
I'll check it out.
You will?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then
it's a Black Label book, so.
Oh, that'll do it then.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. I'm sure I'm missing something here. Like I feel like there can't just be one X book.
Right.
Can there just be one X book? Is that possible? Am I just bad at reading things? Because that could also be. As we get down here, it's fewer and fewer.
Yeah.
Bigger. What did I miss? For some reason, I thought Trial of Magneto was coming out next week, and it wasn't.
No.
So maybe it is. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Well, we'll see what I read next week then, other than some of the things I mentioned just now.
Yeah. And
also Cable.
Oh yeah, Cable.
Cable Reloaded.
Part of
the Last Annihilation. So if you're looking for more Cable, you can check that out. But that'll be Old Man Cable.
Robert Ramos wants to know, did you finish the other History of the DC Universe? No. We have them though. We have all the books, but we're reading those physically. So because it's a Black Label book.
Yeah.
So yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home. The trailer was leaked, and so here's the thing. I was formulating this feeling about this trailer because I'm on TikTok. You can actually follow us on ComicPop. I hate TikTok like so much. It's just, and it's like weirdly addictive. It's like this. It's like the internet created it. Like it's like a human being didn't invent it. It's like Grant Morrison had a villain invent it. But it's just this thing that like draws you in, and it forces you, like it pulls you in with like the promise of something you want, and you're just endlessly scrolling. But like I find that the scrolling, I'm looking for something that I actually want to watch, as opposed to like actually enjoying myself on the app. And I think it's just because the content is so utterly disposable. But through TikTok, I felt this like echo chamber of the No Way Home trailer. This overwhelming, vehement calling for the trailer. People are like just constantly going like, when are we going to get this trailer? When are we going to get this trailer? Why isn't the trailer here yet? And I'm like, who gives a shit? And I find that like a lot of people give a shit.
But it's like there's 2 other Marvel movies that are coming out.
There are 2 other Marvel movies coming out. They could really use your eyeballs. But not even that, because they're going to make whatever money they're going to make. They're Marvel movies. Doesn't matter. They don't need my help. But like, for me, it's like, it's a trailer. It's a preview. The movie isn't coming out any sooner. The trailer is just going to show you more things. And it occurred to me, like, maybe it's one of those things where I find that like the people who comment on the culture influence the culture itself. And I have another thought about that I'll leave for another day. But like, there's this thing about how like, maybe the fact that people who need to get you excited about like people comment on the culture, like me and you, like people like us who like go, oh, a trailer, let's make a video about it. That those people who need to make 7 or 8 videos a day talking about the things you like to watch have been like telling you that they need this trailer to come out, but really they don't. Like they need the trailer to come out so they have content to speculate on. You don't need that trailer to come out. You just think you do because you're being told by the people you watch that you need that trailer to come out. I don't know. It was just this whole thing where I was having like an existential crisis, and I'm like, oh my God. But like, I've never seen as much like vitriol and like extreme reaction to the desire for a trailer to come out.
Okay.
Like ever. And we lived through the Phantom Menace. Like when they said there was going to be a Star Wars movie, and then 3 years later they made one, there wasn't nearly this much reaction to when a trailer was going to come out. Like I just haven't seen it in my lifetime.
Right.
And from what I remember from the culture at large, like people enjoyed Far From Home or they hated it. So why is it that I hear from both camps they all need to see this trailer? You know, it just seems like, oh, this feels like it's just like an outside force that's like kind of like manipulated the culture to say like, we need it, we got to get this trailer. And then this like this fervor conjured the trailer. Like it just the desperate need to have this trailer willed the trailer into existence to the point where you had to film it on it's literally an iPhone filming another iPhone watching the trailer. That's the trailer that people are watching. It's not even a trailer. It's not even a leak. It's a leak of a leak of a leak that's being leaked. And it's just like, I don't know. And the trailer isn't even done. The CG isn't done. Because, of course, if you watch Corridor Digital, you'll know. But, like, the reality is, apparently, like, for when a movie is being made, you know, it costs a lot of money to make all the special effects, and it takes time and effort and money and stuff like that. But, like, for the trailer, they just pick the best shots, and then they use whatever CG they have available, and they make the trailer from that. But, like, the CG for that is not final. Like, Cliff of the Big Red Dog, that's a movie that's coming out. The CG looks horrible. And it's like, they picked 4 shots, and he looks like he looks like they spent a weekend making CG Clifford. So, like, of course it looks bad. But, like, this trailer, there's like green screen and stuff. And it's like, it's not done. The trailer isn't done. The movie isn't done.
Right.
And so it's just like, you don't even want to see it. You're just screaming for no reason.
I think, listen, we've all of us have lost a bit of our patience.
Absolutely. From a year of being inside or dealing with stress.
I just mean as time progresses forward and things are faster than ever before. And I don't think that's a detriment. I think that's great. I think, you know, that
it's certainly generated some good for our lives.
It has. I mean, like, listen, there's like life-saving ability there.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And communication and it bridges relationships. There's a lot of good. I'm not crapping on modern technology.
But like, I think that like there is a level of that though that has like degraded
the conversation.
Collectively, all of us, our ability to wait.
Yeah.
It was already tried for some people.
Yeah.
But like, it's just, you know, I do it all the time. And
right.
I'm like, damn it. What am I doing?
Right. Yeah. I find myself being like,
I have no patience sometimes.
Being influenced by my lack of patience.
Right. Right. And so like, you know, the more something has been hyped up, the more it's like, I have to see it. And it's not even like I have to see it. I need to see a sampling of it. And from that, I will make a decision on it.
There are.
It's hard to do that.
That's true.
I've seen many a trailer that I'm like, meh. And then I see the movie and I'm like, oh, okay.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
No, it just wasn't a good trailer.
Or I've seen a trailer and I'm like, whoa. And then I see the movie and it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. A trailer in and of itself is a commercial. It's there to sell to you.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that. Lots of people make lots of money off of marketing things to other people. And sometimes marketing is used for good and sometimes it's used for bad. But a trailer is in and of itself, it's an art, and there are people who make them for a living, and that's all that they do. Like they may not edit feature films. All they do is they edit trailers. Yeah. And they edit trailers to get your butt in the seat in the theater.
And sometimes they'll also edit a Suicide Squad movie.
Sometimes.
But yeah.
But you know, the desire to see it is the desire to have that Spider-Man trailer there is like, I can't wait.
Right.
I can no longer wait for things.
Yes.
And I need to make a decision about it right now.
Right. I need to make a decision about it right now. That's really what it is. I think it's less about like needing to wait and like learning to have patience and this thing of like instant gratification. And it's just like, well, just give it to it. There's an old video that we use as currency from Red versus Blue.
Like,
it was about it's the history of the internet, and it's like it's like a 20-year-old video or whatever.
Ridiculous.
And it's still relevant because it's talking about, does anybody have the new Creed CD? I do. Give it to me. Give it to you. Why should I give it to you? You're not giving it to me fast enough. Give it to me faster. Like that was a joke, but still accurate. And now it's to the point where it's like, it's not even a conversation. It's just like, give it to me. Like I in our own comments for this video, we were talking about the trailer. People were like, where is it? Like, no, but where is it though? No, but stop talking and just show me the trailer. And I'm like, we can't. We're not going to. And that's not what this is about. Right. And don't you think it's kind of fucked up? Yeah. That you're like, ah! Like, I get being excited. Like, not like, I remember when we go to like cons and like you're the front in line, or you're at like an event and you're at the front of the line and like you get really excited, but then you get people who like push you.
That's scary. There's a difference between anticipation and crowd mentality.
Just not being able to put it to keep it together for a few seconds.
Yeah, anticipation is something that should be treasured.
Yes.
Like honestly, like anticipation is often the thing that you actually are looking forward to versus the thing itself.
Right.
Like there's something to be said about like going to something you're going to enjoy and the journey there because it's part of the fun, and the event itself may not even live up to that.
Right. Like the trailer for Phantom Menace is way better than the movie.
Well, yeah.
And it's like, but you don't know that now because you saw the movie and it's become a meme. So it's like, but trust me, like when that trailer came out, like I remember, here's the thing that dates me / also is like not relevant. I remember when Kevin Smith cut and released, just for the View Askew fans, the Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back trailer. And that was a digital only thing. And that trailer, the movie itself is a fan service movie, but like the trailer was a fan service trailer for a fan service movie. I gotta tell you how hyped I was.
Right.
I just couldn't keep it together. I watched that trailer so many times in like 480p on like an iMac. One of those ugly things, with colors. But, just, I remember that anticipation, but I wasn't like mad. You know what I mean? I wasn't like frustrated. I was just like, I can't wait for August. And it's like, I don't know. It's just this phenomenon and the resulting, like I was feeling this before the trailer was leaked. Like when I was just seeing the umpteenth TikToker / YouTuber / Twitter person was like, when are we gonna get it though? And I was like, guys, I think it's time for us to have a serious conversation about like mitigating expectations and like chilling the fuck out. And then like it literally birthed the trailer into existence. And it like, of course it was like the shittiest version with the shittiest quality. It's not even finished. And but like that is the end result of that kind of coupling of commentator and culture coming together to create something. They created this unfinished like mistake, and it sends the wrong message to everyone. And it's just like, I don't know. I don't mean to proselytize. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take our comic book review show and be like, let's talk about the culture. But like, sometimes I want like, and I don't want to have this conversation a lot. And I don't want people to fucking tweet at me or message me and be like, here's what I think. Like, I just wanted to start the conversation. Hopefully, like I'd like to at least broach the topic. To be like, listen, in a non-judgmental space where I'm not calling anybody out specifically, I'm just saying like, yo, take this minute for yourself and think like, why do I care so much about something that doesn't make me any money, impact my life in any way? You know what I mean? Like it just chill out for a second.
I do. And here's the thing. I think the flip side to that as well, there's nothing wrong with also like feeling disappointment for something. Because I was thinking, as you're talking about this, like I know I have been, as many of us have been, I've been patiently waiting for the next God of War game. And to hear it was pushed back, I'm like, damn. Right. But I'm also not like,
what the hell? Like angry.
I'm not angry about it. I'm just like
someone's got to pay for this.
I'm like, that's a shame. But like, I have more in my life. There's other projects you're working on, and I want it to be good.
Right.
And so, like, cool. Like, that's one side of it. This isn't even like, okay, so like, listen, how many times let's not make it a drinking game, but like, how many times have I brought up Silent Hill on this show that's about comic books? And there is technically a Silent Hill comic book, so
there are more than
a
few.
There's a difference between that,
yes,
what's going on there with Spider-Man, and what Konami does,
right?
In which Konami has like all these properties and refuses to really do anything with them or treat them with any respect,
right?
And so like, there's a very different reaction to that, where it's like, a lot of people out there are like, please just give us a new Silent Hill game.
Right.
Please.
You're right.
Please.
They're like, how about instead we'll work deeply into one and then pull the rug out from under it.
Right. Like, we'll totally do that. And like, there's a different level of like, give it to me there, because that's desperation.
Right. That's like, I just want it.
I just anything. Yeah. But I have anything.
Right.
Please. Sir, may I have some more?
And my frustration with this is like, I'm seeing this from comic book fans, and I'm like, you have 1,000 different places to get Spider-Man, and you don't even like this Spider-Man.
Right.
Like, statistically speaking, you don't even like the Spider-Man. Why do you need to see this trailer so bad?
This is actually like sort of like whipping people up into like a fervor.
Absolutely. And I can promise you that sometimes that works. Like sometimes that works to the favor of the people who are doing the whipping and the people who generate money from that. Like I can imagine that Sony/Disney are like, man, like, you got to admit, this is some terrific publicity. Right. But, like, they're not. Like, I promise you, they're not loving this. Because for them, they lost the surprise. They lost the, like, the position of authority over you.
And now if they decide to drop it, they have to rush to complete something to put it out there. And so the product that comes out there may not be on the best foot. And, 1,000 articles are going to be written about it. Like 1 million TikToks will be created about it. There'll be tweets. There'll be this. Everything will be centered on this.
Yes.
Probably someone lost their job over this.
No doubt.
I mean, like,
and here's the thing: if you leaked this trailer, you deserve to have lost your job.
Right. And if you're the friend who lost the job for that person,
that sucks.
Yeah, no, you're no friend.
Right.
Like, there are. Do companies do fake leaks?
Oh, totally.
Yes, but they're in control of that narrative.
Right.
That's not what this was.
No. But I'm not. And by the way, we're not like, oh, poor Sony, poor Disney.
I'm definitely not like that. Like the only thing I feel bad is like I'm wondering.
It detracts from
everything else, but it also like I do feel bad. Like if that person did leak it maliciously, like screw you. That's a shit move, because it's like also, fans are not going to get the product they should have gotten. They're not going to get that first initial reaction of like what it might actually be. They're going to get like some like crappy version of it and then something else.
Yeah.
Second trailer is never quite as exciting.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this is going to be now.
Yeah.
But if it's not, and it was like something where they had something they showed a friend.
Yeah. Right.
That sucks.
That really sucks.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I end up thinking about the human component there. Where I'm like,
I didn't even think about
life
that.
is ruined.
Right.
Their friendship is ruined.
Right.
If that's what it is. I make stories. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a shame and it's sad.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's almost in the spirit of ruining.
Yeah.
Where, people at this point, not only do they want to do something like this where it's like, oh, we took this away from them. And like, again, I'm not saying like I fully support like huge corporations like that. Not at all. But people did work on this. Right. Like human beings worked on it. Yeah. Not just a big company name. Like,
no, like they do want to tell a story, and the people who made these movies, like, there's an entire like production team that makes like this possible.
Yeah. But there's also like an industry out there of people who want to spoil movies for you before you've had a chance to see it. There's an industry out there who wants to spoil comic books before you had a chance to read them.
That's the thing, is like, and that's such a that like you really suck if you do that, because like it's already like a poorly handled, like low selling industry, and it's like you're stealing from like people who don't have half as much money.
Yeah, or you're taking from someone's own real reaction to something.
Right. Yeah.
It's just, but it's that need to like instant gratification. Like, I saw this and now either I'm doing it to be a dick and I need to ruin it for you.
I've lost leave of my senses.
And I have to talk about this right now. We all have to talk about it. Are we all I didn't read it, but now thanks.
But now it's ruined. So yeah.
So now I can't.
Right.
I can't ever have that moment again.
Yeah.
You can't ever like see something again. You can't ever have a first reaction to something again. You can't ever play something for the first time.
No.
Ever again.
That's true.
And so to have that taken away sucks. And so for those, listen, if you saw the trailer, we're not saying you're a bad person.
No, there's part of me desperately wanted to see it because I do want to know.
You do want to know. I know.
But like, I don't want to ruin it. Like, I want to watch it in high definition if I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it. I mean, I have like 6 other podcasts where I talk about movies and comic books and stuff. So like, obviously I have to watch it just for that element of it.
Right, but hopefully they do release something then.
Well, and also like, here's what we didn't do on the show. Watch it and give you a breakdown of every moment and then speculate about what happened in it.
No, because it's not even finished.
Not a finished
trailer.
I wanted to use that opportunity and use the thumbnail and the tag to talk about the conversation.
Yeah, we use that part.
Yeah, well, because I want to start the conversation, or at the very least add to it, to be like, yo, chill out, like dial it back. And me too, like people like us who talk about things that don't really matter or matter to help make you a better person or to get you through the day so you can provide for your family. Like, that's. We are but a speck of dust in the ongoing like universe of your existence, and you need to think about that. So some super chats came up while we were talking about that. Memento Mori says, showing up super late due to work, just wanted to show my support and shout out Moon Knight #2 for having phenomenal art and colors.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah,
it really does.
It really does. That's funny. We didn't really talk about that, but we it's a good point. Dex Baker says, I missed almost all of this video. Catch up on the replay.
Well, hi on the replay.
Yeah, right. Radium Theater Productions, Green Lantern #1. You got sent last week. Inspired me to buy the run. What do you think of it? Also, have you read Checkmate / Justice League from Bendis? I'm off of all DC Bendis. I just can't anymore. So I'm off. I didn't read Checkmate. I read Fool Me Once, Shame on You. I read his event Leviathan, and I'm out of all DC Bendis events from here on out. But I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
Green Lantern #1. I was like, oh, cool. Like,
nice.
I have no complaints necessarily about it. I was plus it's John, and and the interaction. I wanted to see, like, at the very least, Teen Lantern interacting with his characters. I'm like, oh, cool. It's like, no, it's good. Like, it's actually good.
Yeah.
The art's really good. What was it? Joseph Canella, fervor might be due to Andrew and Toby. I mean, here's the thing. The Spider-Man fandom, in terms of just the movies alone, is to, meteoric proportions.
Yes.
And I appreciate that, like, yes, it really does stem from, will they make a sequel to the movies that I wanted? Or will they make a Spider-Verse live action movie? And, will I get closure on those movies that, like, maybe had potential and I might like more than the MCU version? Like, yeah, it's all those things and more. Like, it's not just a new Spider-Man movie. It's not just, it might be the last Spider-Man movie. It's not just, it might be a sequel to Amazing or Raimi. It's all those things plus trailer culture, commentary culture, pop culture. It's all those things into a perfect storm of, like, yikes.
Yeah.
That like, you're only setting yourself up for disappointment. Like, I know that I have a reputation for being cynical, and, like, I'm not. I am an optimist, and I am let down by that optimism, and that is what is confused for cynicism. And it's like, you need to mitigate your expectations when it comes to other people's art. Like, oh man, I hope that Van Gogh's next thing has, like, a lot more oils in it than last time. Like, I hope he paints a daytime scene instead of a nighttime scene. Like, can you just think about that moment for a minute, and then apply it to every piece of art you absorb? Because that's what it is. Like, it's them expressing themselves. Right. And, like, you can't possibly match that level of expectation.
Right. It's also like, you're not commissioning these films.
Right. And they're not making them for you.
They're making them for everyone. They're hoping
as many people as possible, which is a catch-all.
But it's also like, if you've ever gotten a piece by an artist, if you tell them too much of what to do, you may not be happy with that piece in the end, because there'll be something slightly off with it. And what it's missing is what the artist brings to the table. Yeah, like what the artist would bring to the table there. And so it's like, oh, I got this thing from them, and I told them every single little blah blah blah.
Yeah, but here it is, the thing I asked for in excruciating detail.
Is everything I wanted, but something the soul is missing.
Yeah, that's true. Also, like, I didn't see the trailer. I can tell you this: it's not a sequel to Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like, it's not. It's not, because it's not possible. And even if it is, like, carrying over elements or characters, like, that's not going to be them making that. And, like, the Snyder Cut culture of, like, if I yell at a company long enough, they'll make the thing I want. Like, they only did that because they thought they could make money. Like,
and they launched it.
Yeah, and then they launched an app, and they can't. Like,
they really were like, "Come on, we just need to be a people over there."
Yeah, and they spent billions of dollars to make an app, and they needed to get people to subscribe, and they thought that's the best way to manipulate you into doing it. Like, that's why they did it, not because they believed in Snyder's vision. But that's another element to it.
Mm-hmm.
Cosmic Reader says, I understand that MCU Spidey and has some liberties to his character, but I don't understand why some Spidey fans think he's 100% not accurate, especially since I see a little bit of Ultimate in Tom Spidey. Yeah, I think Ultimate's there too. I mean, he's a movie Spider-Man. It's never gonna be comic book Spider-Man,
right.
There are a lot of amazing things that Raimi did that they wouldn't have made without Raimi's love of the character.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some things that are missing, and there's some elements that are there are liberties taken. It's because it's his interpretation.
Yeah.
I kind of like Garfield more than Maguire, but I think that Maguire's version is a more faithful adaptation of Peter than Garfield's, but I'd rather see Garfield as Spider-Man if you're going to compare just the two of them. So all of them have their own elements, and he's such a big character that there's so much to draw from.
And I think that's a big part of why some fans don't like it, is because there is so much of him. There's so much history in the comics. There's so many eras of him and interpretations by creators.
Yeah.
That there's something about the character that they latched onto. There's
right.
something that means something to them. And if that element's missing, because you're doing a film, you have however many minutes in that film to encapsulate it.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're gonna have to leave some stuff out.
Totally.
Especially if you're doing something on a grand scope, like having him interact with other heroes, it has to come about differently. And so they definitely have to leave some stuff behind. So that thing that made Spider-Man special to some folk may not be there.
Right.
And so they don't like it.
Well, not only that, it's also that they have to leave things out to tell a cogent story. And it's the same thing when you watch or listen to a podcast about a topic you love and know intimately, and they have an hour-long show and they leave out things.
Yeah.
They do it for brevity, not because they forgot it, but your comment is always, you forgot this. And it's like, your life is, or your identity is tied into this thing, or your fandom is attached to this thing. And so as a result, everything and you want to hear it all validated or referenced, but it's impossible to make a good product and put all the ingredients into it. I like cake. You're not going to put all the eggs and all the sugar into it. You need a perfect balance of ingredients to make a good, tasty product. And it's the case with movies, with comic books, with podcasting, with everything.
I like that cake analogy, because what makes a cake delicious won't make a soup delicious.
Right. It's not the same thing.
It's two very different things.
Exactly. But it takes it takes proportion, and it takes mediation, and it takes moderation to make it something palatable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just that whole thing. I just wanted to talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that with Spider-Man in particular, it's especially vehement. It makes people really riled up, because I think a lot of people tie their identities to who that character is. Like, Red Letter Media did a video about Indiana Jones 4 and how bad it is, and it is terrible. But they went in another direction with it, where they were like, the reason why people don't like Indiana Jones 4 is because Indiana Jones isn't a character, and they ascribe their own personalities onto Indiana Jones, and they don't want to see themselves old and terrible. And so that's why they didn't like it. And I'm like, that's just incorrect.
I mean, listen, that may have happened, and maybe people in their circle.
Yes. But
they saw that.
I don't think
that's not why I don't like it.
That's right. It's just a lousy movie. But with Spider-Man,
that doesn't mean that's not there.
No, but I think that's an interesting idea, but I think it has more applicability to Spider-Man. I think that people who love Spider-Man think they are Spider-Man or want to be Spider-Man. And so when bad things happen to Spider-Man in comics, movies, wherever, it means they're happening to them, even on a subconscious level. And as a result, it makes them get really agitated. Like when a character drags them through the mud or makes them experience any kind of anxiety. It's why people love Dan Slott's Big Time, but don't like anything else that he did, because Big Time is the highest level Spider-Man achieves in terms of respect and success. And then he is brought down low and he keeps losing. And it's I don't like Slott's run for a number of reasons, not the least of which is the fact that he keeps losing and he treats him like he's a failure. And that might be because I have a connection with that character, but there's also just there's no fun watching a person lose all the time. But I do think that with Spider-Man, there's an especially like strong connection between the audience and the character to a degree where like there is a disconnect between like Batman and characters. You know, like even though Batman is a human who can do anything, like most people go like, I can never be Batman. With Spider-Man, a lot of people I think I could be Spider-Man, or I am Spider-Man to some degree. And that blurring of lines between reality and fantasy makes people get really agitated when something happens to Spider-Man in any culture. And like that, I think that's like another element to why it's like, why it gets to fanaticism levels of reaction.
I think I could see that. I think it is often the fact that folk, there is so much draw to him, and like people can come into liking Spider-Man much like Batman in various ways. Like there are cartoons that people maybe they just watch those, right? And they watch the movies,
right? Yeah, some people just don't have any connection with Batman. Hollywood thinks Batman is a James Bond character,
right? No, it's all over the place. But like much like with Batman, with Spider-Man, there's a couple of different avenues you could have come through to meeting this character, right?
Yes.
And so especially if you only know him from the films, it's a drastic change each time he arrives.
Yeah, if your favorite character is Spider-Man because of Raimi, then I get why you have no love for or any any patience for any other interpretation, because it's so radically that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I appreciate
that.
But
it's not only that, but it's like because he is a bigger character, there are more people who like him. And so there are more people you're going to run into who have the same opinion, or the more people you're going to run into have a different opinion.
Yeah.
And so it's just, there's a lot. Yeah. There's a lot to talk about.
A lot of baggage.
There's a lot going on with it.
Absolutely.
It's not like you have a smaller fandom, which even then can be toxic at times.
Totally.
Just because
there's no diversity of opinion.
Or you run into the folk who, you know, we've all known this person who's just like, I'm the greatest fan of them, and I know the most. How?
Yeah.
And it's like we can all love it in our own ways.
Right, exactly. Okay, it doesn't make someone more of a fan than anybody else.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
Anyway,
think about your fandom, and you know, that's all. Just like when you don't forget when you love something or you're enjoying something that's made for entertainment value, to think about it for a minute. Like don't just blindly enjoy it, because like I think it's easy, especially now, to get really caught up in anything, whether it's a relationship or your comic books or your movies, your TV shows, your video games. Like I think it's really easy now to get really wrapped up and to not see the forest for the trees, and to lose sight of like what matters, or at the very least like your own self. And to check in once in a while, because it's really important to do that. Lest you
there was a comment that was just there, and I really liked it, honestly.
Oh, sure.
It was just like, I really appreciated like the perspective, because it's something I hadn't really thought about, just talking about how like someone liked the Venom movie because they like the Spider-Man
the lack of him, or
the Spider-Man PS1 interpretation
of it.
Like there's just like, it's different looks, but it's like, but thank you for saying it in like a really like respectful and totally nice way. Like I very much appreciate that, because you know we weren't huge fans of it, but
but like
I get why people like it.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally get it, and I didn't
have thought about
there
that.
There are elements to Venom that I thought were like fun and I enjoyed, but like I have an issue. Doesn't matter. But I'm glad that that's expressed, and I that's the thing, is whenever anybody like criticizes something that you love or you enjoy or you absorb for entertainment value, it doesn't necessarily mean that like, it doesn't mean they're attacking you, which is a really big issue, where people ascribe their own selves to the thing that they like.
Oh yeah, I think we've all been.
Yeah, they feel like they're being.
We've
personally
all
attacked.
Been there.
Yes,
like, you know.
But remember, you're not being personally attacked.
Yes.
But the other thing is that just because something is criticized doesn't mean that they want to take it away from you.
Right.
You know, like I didn't like the Venom movie. Doesn't mean that I think the Venom movie shouldn't exist.
Right.
Or you know, or that you are bad for liking it.
Right. We've seen bad movies.
Yeah. And you know what? Like,
some of them shouldn't exist.
Yeah, no, that's true. But like for a lot of reasons.
But they're none of them are like with big characters or anything like that. It's like usually something that like.
Yeah. Right.
Like should Birdemic 2 exist?
Right. Like Birdemic 2 should not exist. Right. And it's like, but it's because it's not funny, and it's just made deliberately to be like a meme. It's like there's no art to it.
Not like the first person.
No, that's a masterpiece. Joseph Canella says, sorry for the second question, but what did you think of the HBO Black Canary movie announcement? I don't have any thoughts about it. I don't care. Like I kind of dug the Black Canary from Birds of Prey. If she gets a movie, good for her.
Yeah.
It just further complicates the DC cinematic universe because like what is happening. But at the same time, like whatever, knock yourselves out.
Yeah.
Like it's on HBO Max. Like I could watch it or not. We didn't see Space Jam 2. I was sure that I was going to see Space Jam 2. I've seen enough about it. I'm like, I'm good. I could never see Space Jam 2. And it's just like, but I knew that there were parts of it I'm sure I would have enjoyed or could have watched, and I could watch it anytime. But like, it's over there. I'll watch it maybe one day.
Yeah.
With the Black Canary movie, I don't love Black Canary. Like, I like her, but I'm not like a Black Canary fan. So I'm not like, I don't have an opinion.
Yeah.
So it's like, whatever, knock yourself out, make one. You know, hope it's good.
Literally that.
You know, call Tom Taylor. He gets her. Get some Green Arrow in there. Why not?
Ooh.
But, you know. Anyway, we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. And don't forget, if you did like this conversation and you like the show, I promise it's not that heavy or weighty that much. Normally, we just talk about comic books or the movies that come out.
Yeah.
But usually both. But if you liked it, subscribe over here on ComicPop Returns. And of course, over on youtube.com/ComicPop, where we're almost to 100,000 subscribers. It's probably could take another year to get there. But hopefully, you know, with your help, we will, you know, we'll get that 100,000.
We can do it.
But we thank you so much for being here. Especially thank you to our subscribers for watching and to our super chatters for sponsoring today's episode.
Thank you.
And for everybody for indulging us in expressing some opinions that we don't normally hopefully do. I don't like to take out the soapbox too much because it's our show. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to take this moment, especially because I like live shows and I get really like jazzed up when we're live.
You do.
So yeah. But thank you all so much for being here and for indulging us. And don't forget to check out those books that are coming out Tuesday and Wednesday.
That's
DC
right.
Books Tuesday, everything else on Wednesday. And let us know what your favorite books are of the week. And we'll see you guys next time with another episode of Off the Rack. I am Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
So long, everybody. Thanks a lot for watching.